the day of the tough physical test at an elite school, but the teacher sells steroids to help students pass. The broken kids who can't afford to buy them always end up failing for some reason. A girl buys her juicy and suddenly turns into Chris Bumstead in panties, passing the test like it's nothing. But when it's the protagonist's turn, the teacher noticed he didn't buy anything and prepares a nasty surprise for him. The moment the boy grabs the bar, he feels it's way heavier than it should be. The teacher placed a crystal that increases gravity on his body to force him to fail, but he starts cranking out reps without stopping even as the weight keeps increasing every second. Everyone is shocked. The teacher is completely stunned. What kind of drug did this kid take? It wasn't a drug, he simply sold his soul to the devil. Let's go back and understand how this all happened. It all starts with our protagonist performing a blood ritual, because his mom is sick and he's drowning in debt. He passes out, wakes up with a headache and thinks it was all just a bad dream, but when he looks up he realizes he's in another world. A book appears saying it summoned him and that he is granted 3 wishes. Our protagonist, who is no fool, demands 10 more wishes.
Really, nigga?
The entity finds it amusing and reveals the twist. He's not the master, he's the offering. A colossal monster appears saying, "Your soul is already mine." The boy tries to run, but the demon makes him burn alive. While he's literally on fire, he starts arguing about contract clauses, saying this isn't an execution, it's a test, and by the rules, he can't be killed without being tested first. The monster is so impressed by his audacity that it makes a new offer. It will grant 999 wishes, and the boy becomes a god, but his remaining lifespan will be just 1 minute. The only way to earn more time and not die is by using those wishes to carry out the demon's orders. No time to read the fine print he signs. He wakes up back in the real world, and everything seemed fine, but the moment he walks into his apartment, he finds out the debt is even worse. A blood-guaranteed loan. He didn't even have time to read it before taking a hit to the head that sent him flying. They start beating the boy and talking trash about his mom. At that moment, the kid's eyes light up and an image of his mother flashes through his mind. The boy fills up with pure rage and punches Jake Paul right in the mouth. His goons can't figure out how this weak kid just did that to a pro fighter. An insane aura starts rising from his body, and even so the goons don't back down. One of the brutes attacks with a club and misses completely. The MC delivers a kick so hard to the guy's head that he'll never remember his own name again. The other one decided to try his luck, but at the speed of light caught a kick to the stomach with no time to react. The last goon, shaking with fear, gives up the boss. Lee Yu, the MC, sends the message, "I'll pay, now get the fuck out of here." The entity appears floating and says, "I helped you this time, but don't get used to it." The boy ignores it and rushes to the hospital to see his mom. When he gets there, his sister is there, and she is not happy about him disappearing while their mom is almost dying from overworking to pay off his debts. She hands him a card and tells him to never come back. The boy leaves the hospital completely broken, and in that moment, he decides that he will become the strongest, pay everything off and prove his worth. The next day he started training, doing some runs, pull up, and right away he was already feeling the difference.
Yes, I am growing stronger.
He goes back to school, and during class, a bully provokes him, mocking his physical strength, but gets ignored. Later on the training field, the same delinquent comes back to humiliate him in front of everyone. Our hero just responds with pure coldness. The bully tries to throw a punch, but the MC blocks it with ease. The protagonist releases an insane energy, and the teacher had to step in before the MC actually killed the bully. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, the old man is pulling his hair out because the school is going broke, and the government cut the funding for not having any elite students. The teacher walks in with the results, and he calls in that garbage kid the teacher wanted to fail. The MC heads to the principal's office, and before walking in, his hand catches fire. The talking book rises from the flames and says, "There's an item in there that I need you to grab right now." The MC walks in and the old man gets straight to the point. "You're poor and the school is broke. Take your money back and leave." He is completely stunned by the news. The crazy book points to a black crystal on the shelf. Needing that crystal and the diploma, he comes up with a 900 IQ plan. He tells the entity, "Lend me your power now or I get expelled and you'll never get what you want." The entity warns that his body might explode, but in the end agrees. The boy tells the principal to test his level again. If he's weak, he'll leave. The principal agrees and shakes his hand, but the boy's magic starts growing so much that the principal starts getting scared. When the boy releases all his energy, the principal lets go of his hand and realizes the boy isn't level 1, but level 4. The old man's attitude went from "get out of my office" to "please marry my daughter." He begs the boy to fight for the school in the tournament, but the MC only agrees if he can take the crystal with him, thinking he got the better end of it. But little does he know, he just handed a divine weapon to the monster living inside his student. Calling over a teacher, the head of the academy asks her to take the protagonist to the elite class. The tutor explains that the entire second floor is for the elite class and that she'll register him. She asks what his relationship is with the principal, but suddenly the PE teacher comes running in, yelling. Grabbing the kid, the teacher says he tried to plead for him with the principal and encourages him not to give up. Not understanding anything, the teacher cuts the drama and explains he isn't leaving. He's being transferred to the elite class. Passing along the message, she warns that the principal is looking for him and seemed pretty irritated, sending the guy into total panic. That night, in his room, the boy sighs in relief after a day full of twists and turns. He worries about how he's going to go from level 2 to 4 in 3 months, but his boss already says he won't help for free. With not much choice, the kid admits that was the only method he could think of, but he knows he can't rely only on borrowed power. Looking on the bright side, at least he avoided getting expelled and scored free supplements, deciding to take things one step at a time. The real problem pops up on his phone screen with a notification that his debt is due in 5 days. Heading back to school the next day, the hero knows time is running out and the pressure to get stronger just keeps growing. Then the boy shows up for his first day in the elite class, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. Walking down a hallway that looks like an abandoned factory, he tries to figure out what the hell he's gotten himself into. Suddenly, a voice calls him by name, snapping the protagonist out of his confused thoughts. Turning around, he finds a super upbeat guy waving and calling him over. Explaining that he looked for him because he wasn't on the roll call, the man apologizes for anything he might have missed. Introducing himself as Professor Zhang, he surprises the boy with how chill and informal he is. Confirming he's the only combat instructor, the man reveals enrollment has been dropping over the last few years. Noticing the outer sections of the school are falling apart, the hero finally understands the principal's desperation. Trying to reassure him, the teacher opens a door, saying a hungry camel is still bigger than a horse. The teacher promises the place won't disappoint him one bit. Welcoming him to the advanced class, he reveals a super modern, well-equipped training room. Inside, several students are already training freely using top-of-the-line equipment. Saying he'll introduce him to the class, the teacher guides him into the elite academy. Completely impressed, the young man notices the facilities are first-rate, and the students seem way more motivated. But a closer look makes the hero realize something feels off in the air. As he takes in the room, the young man senses a pretty tense atmosphere among the elite class students. Trying to get everyone's attention, Professor Zhang gathers the class to introduce the new classmate. Introducing the boy, the teacher explains that the advanced class only cares about strength, so the newbie must have something special. Still, one of the older students is already staring at the newcomer with suspicion, doubting his real strength. The veteran accuses the boy of using connections to get in, saying he'll only hold the class back. Standing up for the new student, the teacher scolds the upperclassman for his tone, but the main guy doesn't even seem to care. Ignoring the warning, the brute throws out a formal challenge, asking if the hero accepts the fight. Watching it, the other students are shocked, since a formal challenge is serious and involves both of their pride. Across the room, a pink-haired girl asks what's going on and finds out the new kid is going to fight. Hearing that, a blonde guy seems interested for the first time, asking about this transfer student. Trying to stop the fight, the teacher warns that a formal challenge requires consent, hoping the new kid will refuse. To everyone's surprise, the hero accepts the challenge, seeing it as a good chance to test his strength before the tournament. Meanwhile, in his office, the principal gets a call and is completely stunned by the news. On the other end of the line, Professor Zhang says the kid is already fighting, and he barely even made it to class. He says the strongest student issued a formal challenge, and the hero accepted right away. With the whole class egging the fight on, things spiral out of control with no chance for anyone to back out. The principal sees it as the perfect chance to test that power-hiding training excuse and approves the match. In front of everyone, Professor Zhang goes over the rules, warning that any interference means immediate expulsion. Revealing both of their levels, he confirms they're both rank E, Phase 2, making it a fair fight. Making it clear it's a friendly match, the teacher strictly forbids using lethal force. As the upperclassman stares the hero down, the teacher stresses there won't be any payback after the fight. It's decided that a clean hit to the face or a surrender ends the match immediately. Giving the signal, the instructor finally yells for the fight to start. Charging in, the upperclassman plans to strike first with everything he's got. His goal is to end the fight instantly, but the protagonist blocks the blow with ridiculous ease, like he saw it coming. Stunned by what he's seeing, the upperclassman can't believe the new kid's insane reflexes. Starting a flurry of fast punches, the brute tries to land something on the kid no matter what. In his head, he curses the hero for dodging around like a rat. Determined to corner him, the aggressor throws a kick that gets dodged. The opponent mocks the protagonist, saying all he knows how to do is run. Using a martial arts move, the upperclassman throws a powerful hook kick. He thinks the impact will be enough to drop the new kid, but he doesn't realize his strike got blocked. In a totally unexpected move, the kid spins and lands a kick to the back of his opponent's neck. In total disbelief, the upperclassman can't believe the new kid knows how to fight too. Even so, he tries to stay calm, thinking he's got a chance as long as he doesn't get hit in the face. When he turns around, the hero is right in front of him, throwing the finishing blow. Then the guy points out the rule, reminding him that a clean hit to the face means a win. Without needing anything else, the teacher steps in and calls the match, with Joe Chen as the winner. Shocked, the upperclassman can barely process that he just got beaten. Watching it, the other students are left speechless, saying the new kid is way too strong. Thinking the fight was quick, the protagonist uses the win to say there's no reason to complain anymore. Looking back at the fight, the teacher concludes the kid is a talent with crazy physical ability and reflexes. All of a sudden, the principal shows up, congratulating the hero on the nice win. Pulling the guy aside, the principal says there's something important he needs to talk to him about. Watching the hero leave with the principal, the elite crowd talks about how strong the new kid is. At that, the blonde student decides he needs to recruit someone like that for his group, which annoys his partner. Walking with the principal, the young man says his classmates are pretty hyped, but the boss says he'll get used to it. Promising full support, the principal tells him to focus on training, making the protagonist think about asking for financial help. Taking the opening, the kid awkwardly asks if there's any way for students to make money fast. Scolding the kid, the principal says he should focus on training so he can make money in the future. Later on, working out alone, the hero worries about the debt since student loans are punished harshly. Suddenly, a voice pops up behind him, calling out to him in a pretty laid-back way. Showing up all excited, the blonde guy praises the earlier fight, already hugging the kid who doesn't even know who he is. Right away, the pink-haired girl shows up to scold her partner, calling him rude. Apologizing for his behavior, the girl introduces herself as Su Xiaoxia and introduces the blonde guy as Shen Jiarui. Explaining that they're his upperclassmen, the girl offers to help with anything he needs. Saying that they're a team of 3 now, Shen Jiarui names himself leader while the hero thinks he's a pretty weird guy. Making small talk, the upperclassman asks where the kid learned that fighting technique, leaving the protagonist confused. Not getting the question, the blonde is shocked to hear it was just a reflex and not a technique. Saying the hit was brutal, the upperclassman says the loser will be furious when he finds out the truth. Then the girl explains that combat techniques are powerful moves learned through scrolls or stones. Revealing that the opponent's move was a D-rank technique, the upperclassman makes the kid understand what's going on. Thinking he'd have better odds with a technique of his own, the protagonist asks if they're rare to find. Explaining that the school only teaches the basics, the two reveal that a D-rank technique costs 500,000. Right after that, the 2 new classmates brag, saying they both already have their own combat techniques. Noticing they act like 500,000 is nothing, the hero concludes the elite class is rich. Suddenly, an idea hits him, and he thinks that if they're rich, maybe they can teach him how to make money. Without wasting time, he asks if there's a legal way to get cash to buy a technique. Thinking for a moment, the upperclassman suggests the only option that comes to mind, the Blackwater district. Immediately, the girl scolds him for leading the newbie down the wrong path, but the kid gets curious. Trying to play it off, the upperclassman says he was joking and that getting in there is forbidden, punishable by expulsion. Changing the subject, he asks how much money the hero needs for that combat technique. Hearing he needs 300,000, the 2 upperclassmen gape, shocked at the amount. Checking his balance on his phone, the blonde sees he doesn't have enough, and the girl says she's broke too. Thinking about the Blackwater district, the kid decides that in desperate times, desperate measures are needed. Later, when he reaches Blackwater Street at night, the place looks completely deserted. Using his phone's GPS, he confirms he's in the right spot, right in the middle of the Forbidden District. Looking at the ghost town, he realizes it isn't far from his house, just a few minutes by car. The hero asks his boss what he thinks is in there. With no answer, the kid starts wondering if the entity is even there with him. Confident in his borrowed level 4 power, he believes he can handle it. Watching the abandoned, ruined buildings, he wonders if that really is the so-called miracle zone. Suddenly, the protagonist notices signs that someone's been walking around there recently. Following the tracks, he finds a strange wooden door with a blue light, thinking it's interesting. Without hesitating, he steps through the secret passage, curious to see what's on the other side. To his surprise, he finds a city full of people, the real miracle zone. Walking through the filthy streets, he sees people sleeping on the ground. Right after that, he catches illegal deals happening out in the open in the dark alleys. Realizing the place is lawless, the kid sees a real chance to get the money he needs. Before looking for a way to make cash, the young guy notices something strange. Turning around, he asks how long the person is going to keep following him. Stepping out of the shadows, a man praises the kid's instincts, thinking his awareness is really good. Showing up with 2 more goons, the leader admits the plan was to ambush him, but now they'll have to do it the hard way. Not understanding what's going on, the hero asks why the hell they want to take him out of nowhere. The thug explains he looks like a rich kid in disguise, and they're going to demand a huge ransom. Thinking the plan is ridiculous, the kid can only wonder what kind of idiot would do something like that. Grabbing the protagonist by the shoulder, the guy brags that he's an oracle and says there's no escape. Staring the thug down up close, the hero just says he's really rude. Giving the guy a light slap, he cracks the ground from the impact. Seeing their boss knocked out, the other 2 goons panic, not believing it. Furious that he attacked with his guard down, the guys pull knives, determined to teach the kid a lesson, but the kid stays calm, waiting for their attack, when 2 wooden crates are thrown, hitting both thugs dead on. Someone appears, surprising the kid. Holding his hand, a girl telling the hero to come with her. Not giving him time to think, she yanks him along and takes off running. Stopping somewhere safer, the girl says they should be safe there. Thanking her for saving him, the boy regrets not being able to interrogate the thugs. She recognizes him and calls him by name, asking what the hell he's doing in that place. Realizing she might get recognized too, the girl panics while the boy asks how she knows him. Pretending she doesn't remember, she plays dumb, saying she just saw his name. Explaining that he saw the ID tag on his shirt collar, the boy is shocked at his own carelessness. Thanking her for the heads up, he quickly takes off the ID. Relieved his disguise almost got blown. Warning him not to go flashing his info around, she offers to get the hero out of there. But he refuses, saying he's got urgent business, and takes off running, leaving the girl behind. Watching him walk away, the girl wonders if he really didn't recognize her. Remembering what it felt like when she touched him, she wonders if he became an oracle too. Buying a mask for 10 silvers to disguise himself. He realizes that even after looking everywhere, he still hasn't found a way to make money. Then a weird man approaches him, asking if he's new around here. Introducing himself as a local tour guide, the guy says he knows everything about the place. Seeing an opportunity, the hero gets straight to the point, asking how he can make money fast. With a sly grin, the guide tells the boy to follow him, thinking about the commission. Going down some dark stairs, the place looks more and more sketchy. Then 2 guys show up squaring off. Hearing the crowd screaming for blood, the hero realizes he's in an underground fight club. Explaining the rules, the guide says the winner takes the cash prize and that it's the perfect time to jump in. Sizing up the fighter in the ring, the boy notices the guy looks strong, but he's only level 1. Looking up at the big screen, he sees the total prize is over 400,000 and realizes this is his big chance. Holding out the chips, the guide asks if he wants in, but the hero refuses, saying he's taking the prize. Leaving the guide totally confused, the boy makes it clear he's not there to mess around with betting. A little later, the hooded girl looks for the protagonist in the middle of the crowd, yelling that the newbie made them lose money. Meanwhile, inside the ring. Staring down the newbie, the house fighter wonders what that guy is doing there. The brute introduces himself as the tournament's main fighter, ready to shut down the party, but with a single punch. The hero drops every opponent with 1 hit each. In a hurry to end it fast, the boy yells for the next opponent. Seeing the determination of the next challenger, the hero just stares him down. Sending the guy flying with 1 blow, he simply asks for the next. Desperate, the other fighter tries to bet something before fighting, but it's too late. He ends up getting knocked out and slammed into the big screen, ending his run in a humiliating way. Seeing the massacre, the boss panics, not understanding how they let a guy who looks that weak fight. Getting word that his fighters ran off, he realizes the club is going to go bankrupt. Determined not to let the boy take the prize, the boss orders them to release the thing for the special match. Finishing off the last opponent with a punch, the protagonist clears the ring. Then he asks if the prize money is his. But the club boss announces one last thrilling fight, making the boy realize they never plan to pay. Then they bring a giant crate into the arena, announcing the final secret challenger. The announcer introduces a freak called Niflun. Without any fuss, the staff release the bizarre creature into the fighting arena. Falling awkwardly to the ground, the monster is freed from its restraints. Not understanding anything, the hero just watches the bizarre scene, but soon he spots a strange device strapped to the back of the creature's neck. The thing then stands up, showing off a sinister face. In the crowd, a brute pisses himself in fear, but tries to act tough to impress the girl next to him. Seeing the creature up close, the girl panics, wondering how that thing ended up there. Worried about the boy's safety, she thinks about using her powers, but that would expose her identity. Not knowing what to do, she just watches, hoping he can get away. Inside the arena, the hero laments his boss not being there, knowing that opponent isn't human. Feeling a chill down his spine, his instincts scream that the thing is extremely dangerous. Charging in at insane speed, the creature almost lands a hit on the boy. Dodging by a hair, the hero feels a cut on his neck, knowing he would have died if he hadn't moved. The monster makes it clear it wants to kill, not just fight. Knowing he can't hold back, the boy tries to block an attack, but the beast's strength is unreal. He realizes the opponent is way too dangerous and he needs to end the fight fast. Using the borrowed power, the hero raises his level from E2 to E4. With a downward strike, he hits the monster dead on. Seeing the creature down, the boy wonders if it finally died. Suddenly the beast gets back up, attacking like nothing happened. Realizing his attack did nothing, the hero understands that fighting hand-to-hand won't work. He knows he desperately needs a weapon to have any chance. The creature tries another attack, but the boy sees an opening, counters, and breaks one of the creature's claws. Taking advantage of the gap, he uses it as a weapon against the monster. He realizes he needs one more chance to finish it. Suddenly, the creature releases a curtain of smoke that covers the whole arena. Covering his face, the boy wonders if it's poisonous mist, but realizes it's just smoke. Caught off guard, the hero takes a grazing cut, but manages to defend himself. Using the smoke to its advantage, the monster keeps up a string of fast strikes. Taking another cut across his back, the boy groans in pain, unable to see anything. Completely blinded by the haze, he realizes the opponent is using the smoke to wear him down. Knowing time is against him, the protagonist understands he has to end the fight now. So he tries to use all his senses to find the enemy's position. Cranking his focus up as much as possible, he manages to see through the smoke, locking onto his target. Seeing the creature's attack coming straight at him, he stops the opponent's attack. With a quick move, he slices the beast's arm off with its own sharp claw. Screaming in pain, the creature is left completely exposed. Seeing his perfect chance, the hero rushes in, ready to land the finishing blow. Suddenly his heart starts to give out, throbbing with unbearable pain. The boy wonders if he's hit his limit because of the borrowed power. In that moment, the creature manages to knock the boy's weapon away, and uses its tongue as a weapon to counterattack, piercing the hero's side. Refusing to give up, the boy pushes his body to the limit to draw even more borrowed power. He grabs the monster's tongue. Yanking the beast toward him, he grabs the creature's jaws. The protagonist yells again that this still isn't over, starting to force it, trying to break the monster. With one last push, he finally tears the abomination in two, screaming for it to die. Watching from far away, the arena bosses stare at the monitors but can't see anything. When the haze starts to clear, the boss desperately asks if the kid died. Seeing the final outcome of the fight, the man's face turns into pure panic. In the stands, the hooded girl is completely stunned, not believing he won. Standing in the middle of the arena, the boy holds the creature's two halves and throws the creature's body to the ground. With a cold look, the protagonist just stares at the crowd. Unable to believe what they saw, the bosses stammer, asking how that's possible. The arena boss yells that was his prize fighter, bought at a crazy high cost. Meanwhile, the announcer's voice congratulates the boy for becoming the champion. Heading backstage, he's told to follow an employee to collect his prize. In front of him, a briefcase full of cash is opened, the reward he fought so hard for. Confirming the amount, one of the goons says the total is 510,000. Just nodding, the hero says that's fine and gets ready to take the briefcase. But when he goes to grab it, the boss snaps the briefcase shut. The man tells him to wait, saying he changed his mind. He offers a new deal: become a contracted fighter or take some pocket change and disappear. Completely confused by the offer, the boy asks what the hell that even means. Exploding with rage, the man yells that our hero killed his top champion and owes compensation. Keeping his cool, the protagonist replies that they never mentioned any extra fights. Remembering his own words, the boss recalls the rule in the contract about life or death. Left speechless, the man starts sweating cold when the boy confirms that the choice to kill is the fighter's. Letting out an intimidating aura, the hero demands the 510,000. Pulling a gun, the boss yells, asking who the hell the boy thinks he is. Asking if he thinks he can stop him, the hero simply crushes the gun with one hand. Screaming in pain, the man orders his goons to finish the kid right now. Immediately, all the thugs surround the boy, aiming their guns. Just sighing in boredom, the protagonist stares the situation down. Meanwhile, in the audience, the hooded girl hears the sound of gunshots. All of a sudden, a body gets thrown out the building's window, falling toward the crowd. Sending everyone into a panic, people think it's some kind of movie shoot. Putting two and two together, the hooded girl starts to suspect maybe that isn't a coincidence. Taking advantage of the chaos, the boy grabs the briefcase full of money. But another thug tries to stop him, shooting as the hero runs. Then the boy attacks the guy who was firing at the glass. Yelling from the shattered window, the other goons order all exits blocked. The boy feels a sharp pain in his chest, realizing he used too much borrowed power. To make things worse, he notices his injuries are getting worse. Caught off guard in the middle of the alley, the boy gets yanked hard into the shadows. Quickly, the hooded girl covers his mouth, hiding him as the goons pass by. Taking the hero somewhere safe, he recognizes her as the person who helped him earlier. Telling him to save his strength, the young woman says she knows a secret passage. Pointing to an exit, she warns him to move fast before the area gets sealed off. Hesitating for a moment, he doesn't know what to say, but the girl tells him to go. Finally, lowering his mask, he looks back and thanks her for helping him. In that moment, she just watches the boy leave. She grabs her phone, telling someone she found something unusual and that she doesn't want to deal with her grandpa. Meanwhile, back at his apartment, the boy tosses the briefcase of money, too exhausted to stay on his feet. Feeling a terrible pain in his heart, he realizes he can't take it anymore. Cursing his own luck, he ends up passing out, his body finally giving in to extreme exhaustion. Right after that, a status screen pops up showing he paid off the current debt. Inside a dream, the boy hears his mother's voice in the hospital, revealing he only has a few years left to live. From the recording on his phone, she mourns not being able to see him get married, have kids, and grow old. Collapsing onto the bed, the hero hears his mother's final words, saying she loves him. Covered by the sheet, her lifeless body confirms the goodbye. When he wakes up with tears in his eyes, waking up completely shaken by the nightmare, he looks around, wondering if this really is the old owner's house. Feeling relieved to still be alive, thinking back on the nightmare, he understands that painful memory is what woke him up. Suddenly, he hears the entity's voice asking if he finally woke up. Floating in front of him, the book explains it came back and found him passed out for 2 days. Scolding him, the entity figures he got himself into an underground arena. Angry, the being asks how many times it's warned him not to use its power recklessly. Explaining how serious it is, the creature warns it used almost all its power to bring him back. Telling the boy to appreciate this second chance, the entity lectures him for almost dying. Agreeing with the scolding, the protagonist admits he needs to value the opportunity more. Curious about the monster, the being says that creature doesn't seem to be from this world. The boy remembers the girl from the district, but decides to focus on leveling up for now. Suddenly he remembers the money he almost forgot. Opening the briefcase in a hurry, he sees the stacks of cash. The protagonist celebrates that the money's still there, but his boss calls him pathetic. Checking his own body, the boy realizes he needs to treat the wound in his stomach. Thinking about everything he has to do, he feels overwhelmed with treatment, training, and the bank. Heading straight to the hospital, the first task on his list is taking care of that serious wound. Now in the exam room, the doctor looks at the injury and says it's nothing serious. Impressed by how fast he's recovering, the doctor asks if the boy is an oracle. Taking the chance, the guy tries to push a membership card, but the hero refuses. The protagonist feels relieved the monster's tongue isn't poisonous. Handing him a vial, the doctor tells him to go pay at the front desk, leaving the boy confused. Noticing a strange light in the vial, the young man asks the doctor about the bluish glow. But the doctor doesn't see anything, making the hero wonder if he's the only one who can. Trying to take advantage of it, the doctor suggests it's hallucinations and offers counseling. Ignoring the nonsense, the boy notices all the medicine vials are glowing too. Walking through the hospital, he realizes he can see those lights everywhere now. Thinking about the difference between normal people and oracles, he figures that glow can only be stellar energy. Then, a memory of the fight in the arena surfaces, making him wonder if that incident activated the ability. Confident, the protagonist realizes that if he can sense stellar energy, he can absorb it better. Suddenly, a guy in sunglasses walks past him, giving off a powerful green aura. Completely shocked by how intense that energy is, the boy realizes that man's strength is extraordinary. Feeling like he just got scanned, the strange man stops for a moment, but doubts there's anyone strong around. Through the communicator, a voice reminds him of his mission. Find the so-called alien star and stop stalling. Replying calmly, the guy says he'll enjoy the trip while the voice reveals a prophecy about that star changing history. Thinking his boss worries too much, the man takes off his glasses, wondering what he'll do if the star is an enemy. With an evil grin, Amir, an A-rank speaker, promises he'll personally destroy the threat if necessary. Back at Lighter Revelation Academy, the boy is already called in for a serious talk. The director asks why, just a few days after joining the special class, he was already skipping and ignoring messages. Apologizing, the hero makes up that something urgent came up at home and that he's willing to accept any punishment. Clearing things up, the director says he just wanted to know if something bad had happened to him. Reassuring him, the man stresses that he trusts the kid and that even if he didn't go to the tournament, the school would still back him. Understanding that the academy's purpose is to nurture talent, the young man listens closely to the boss's words. The protagonist promises he'll do his best in the tournament to bring honor to the school. As he dismisses the student, the director mentions that his friends were so worried they even went looking for him in his office. He barely makes it out when a voice is already calling his name in the academy hallway. Welcomed by his new classmates, they complain that he vanished for days, making everyone worry. Making conversation, the blonde upperclassman brings up the combat technique they'd talked about before. Handing over a card, the guy reveals that he and his partner scraped together 300,000, and the hero can pay it back later. Completely stunned by the gesture, the boy thinks he mentioned that by accident, not expecting them to take it so seriously. Turning down the help, he makes up the excuse that the technique wasn't worth that much, and thanks them both for caring. Unexpectedly, the upperclassman he beat before walks up, offering 50,000 from his savings, and apologizing. Refusing the money, the young man says he doesn't need to act like a servant, but the pink-haired girl cuts in, calling the brute out. Explaining himself, the guy admits he just wanted to apologize for judging the newbie wrong, and that now he wants to be his friend. Whispering in the boy's ear, the upperclassman says he was the first one to beat the guy and asks if they should let him join the team. Accepting the idea, the upperclassman invites him to be the fourth member and, to celebrate, the blonde immediately tells the newbie to go get him water. Joking about it, the blonde upperclassman says the one who should fetch the water is the guy who got beaten, making the brute annoyed. Starting the heavy training, the hero reflects that for speakers to level up, they need to absorb stellar energy, but the absorption rate is way more complicated than it looks, and it's a huge obstacle. Even using equipment to maximize the intensity, his absorption rate is still really low, and the energy ends up getting wasted. At this pace, he realizes he'll never reach level 4 in time for the competition and desperately needs to boost his absorption rate. Thinking free training is boring, the blonde upperclassman challenges the hero to a fight, wanting to spice things up. Remembering the fight against the monster, the boy gets an idea, realizing it was because of that battle that he awakened energy observation. Turning to his teammate with a plan in mind, the protagonist says he's in, but he'll need everyone's help. A little while later, the pink-haired upperclassman launches her attack using the Izumo palm technique. Immediately, the blonde upperclassman charges in with his rending fist. Syncing their moves, the young man manages to block both attacks at the same time while praising their timing. After almost an hour of intense training, the boy takes a break, leaving the duo completely exhausted on the floor. Impressed by the method, the upperclassman says she didn't expect the fight to be serious, and the blonde admits he went all out. Announcing the next round, the hero says it's the brute's turn. Realizing he was right, the guy concludes that in this kind of all-out battle, everyone's absorption rate shoots up. Taking advantage of the fact his stats are at their peak, he thinks about trying that other risky method to level up. Thinking back to the supplements, he knows the stellar energy in them is way too diluted to keep normal people safe. From what he's seen, borrowed stellar energy is 100 times more concentrated, and absorbing it directly would make his body explode. So if he just controls the flow to what he can handle, he can turn that temporary power into something permanent. Feeling the energy flowing, the hero realizes for the first time the insane amount of power he can borrow. Because of that, he manages to level up twice in a row. Slowly controlling the flow, he starts compressing the energy as much as possible to try to absorb it. Focusing completely on absorbing the power. Getting hit by the energy, his body is instantly overloaded by the wave of power. Not expecting even a small amount to be that overwhelming, he feels his whole body fill up with power. Cursing his luck, he realizes that even holding back, he still absorbed too much, and at this rate his body is going to explode. With no other choice, the boy releases all the excess energy upward, trying to avoid an explosion, creating a massive shockwave. Completely panicked, the blonde veteran yells that the newbie's stellar energy suddenly spiked. Out of nowhere, the book senses a strange energy, wondering what the hell is going on with its servant. Back in his subconscious, the guy asks his boss if he said anything, but the entity just replies that what matters is that he's alive. Running over worried, the class instructor asks what happened and if everyone's okay. Feeling the intense energy overload, the master wonders if that was the commotion from a moment ago and orders them to bring the detector. When they put the device on, a glowing cube shows the number 3. Leaving the instructor stunned, the master shouts asking if he saw that right while his students stare with their mouths open at the result. Realizing this is the first level 3 student in years, the instructor runs off to tell the principal while the hero decides to train at home. Super pumped, the female veteran gets that if they keep training like that, they can level up too. Asking his boss why he isn't yelling at him, the boy raises his arm, weirded out by the silence. With a sinister smile, the entity says it's used to it now and won't waste words anymore, since it needs him to get stronger. The hero says he still has a lot of stellar energy stored up, and that once his body absorbs it all, he can reach level 4. With 55 days left until the tournament, the guy starts an intense routine of training and running. Together with his team, he trains non-stop. The days fly by with daily, exhausting training. Finally, September 6th arrives, marking the start of the long-awaited exchange tournament. The arena is already packed with a huge crowd of people waiting for the fights. Excited, Suxiaxia says she can't believe she's on that stage and that her mom would cry from happiness. Worried about the kid, the big bruiser veteran asks if he's ready for level 4 fights. Reassuring the team, the protagonist says the principal only asked him to participate and that if it gets dangerous, he'll just drop out. Explaining the logistics, his teammates warn that the rest areas are separate and that they need to split up there. Waving to the team, the young man says goodbye, thinking that the time has finally come. He turns around, ready to prepare for the biggest challenge of his life so far. Meanwhile, in the VIP stands. Inside the room, the principal and the teacher comment that it's the first time they've competed in the VIP section, and they've never gotten this kind of treatment before. Suddenly, a man in a white lab coat shows up all excited, greeting Lighter School's principal. Congratulating his colleague, Shuang Academy's principal shakes his hand, shocked that he managed to train a level 4 student. Talking about the new format, the principals say that with the increase in subsidies, the competition is going to be way more intense. Then a man with an arrogant look walks in complaining about the noise and calling everyone there a bunch of hicks. Furious at the insult, Principal Hu is already getting ready to fight, but his friend calms him down, explaining who they are. Not caring at all, Hu shoots back that the past doesn't matter, since the tournament hasn't even started yet and anything can happen. Mocking his confidence, the champion principal Li Kuo tells him to enjoy the moment because he'll never get this chance again. Worried about the pressure, Teacher Zhang whispers to his boss, asking if the kids are going to be okay. Questioning the teacher, the principal asks what he thinks of the students, especially the boy. Agreeing with the evaluation, the man says that all they can do now is just believe in their students' potential. Meanwhile, up in the stands, the class rep holds the academy's sign, feeling nervous. Remembering when she heard the news, she still can't quite believe he was really entering the tournament. In a memory from a week ago, she was walking down the school hallway thinking she hadn't seen him since she changed classes. Thinking that now he was the school's star, the girl figured he probably wouldn't want to talk anymore with someone from the regular class. All of a sudden, she ends up bumping into someone in the hallway. Catching the girl so she wouldn't fall, the guy asks if she's okay. Still not believing it, she thanks him for the help, and the hero just says he was passing by and came to say hi. Admitting what she was worried about, the class rep says she thought that after joining the special class he wouldn't want to be her friend anymore. With a calm smile, the boy replies that friends are friends, and status doesn't change any of that. Totally relieved by the answer, the girl thinks to herself that he's still the same as always, and that he's definitely going to win. Back in the present, the announcer's voice calls the competitors to the stage, and the class rep sees the hero on the big screen. Walking confidently toward the arena, the young man gets ready for the challenge. Welcoming the guests, teachers, and students, the arena gets ready for the tournament's opening. Introducing themselves to the crowd, the hosts reveal that the competition will be run by them, and his co-host is the famous Lillian. Right away, the audience is stunned, barely believing the presenter is the most popular idol right now. With a smile on her face, the girl says that today she's not Lillian from the stage, but a serious host. Explaining the rules, the presenter reveals that 13 academies are taking part and that the level 4 group needs to go to another hall. Going over how it works, the fights will be one-on-one, where the winner moves on to the next round until only one champion is left. Hoping everyone shows their true skills. Suddenly, the presenter points up to the top of a pillar, drawing everyone's attention in the arena to a mysterious figure. The crowd is shocked to see it's Master Baiyu, an S-rank envoy in person. Just raising one finger, Master Baiyu shows everyone his ridiculous power. With a single gesture, a massive shockwave shakes the entire arena, revealing just how huge that power is. The presenter explains that the special arena was prepared by the master himself with protective barriers. On top of that, the host warns that the gem in front of them isn't just for identification, it also protects them in critical moments. Thinking about that insane power, the hero compares an S-rank strength to a real god's, not expecting it to be that over the top. Noticing that his boss doesn't even seem to care, the boy realizes his nervousness is fading. With the results being recorded in the gems, the host finally declares that the regional tournament has officially begun. Without wasting time, the first round starts right away with a battle between two envoys from rival academies. In the blink of an eye, the competitor Xiao Ran finishes the battle in just 17 minutes. Watching the scene in the VIP room, the directors are surprised they invited an S-rank master, realizing the tournament is going to be brutal. Pointing out the power gap, one of the directors reveals that the abyss between level 3 and 4 is huge. Gesturing at the scene, he shows that with big subsidies and expensive martial arts, rich schools always lock down first place. But with a confident smile, Director Who promises things will be different this time, right as the 5th match is announced. Starting the fight, the fighter Lan Chin dodges the attacks, looking like she's just messing with her opponent. Stopping suddenly, the girl says the warm-up is over. Revealing a skill-type martial art, the fighter binds her opponent with restraints. Completely pinned down, the guy panics, yelling that he can't break free from that technique. Moving in without giving him a chance, she finishes him with a strike, ending the fight in just 5 minutes. Seeing that, the crowd goes wild, calling the skill magic and saying it's basically unbeatable. Shocked by what he saw, Director Who recognizes it as a rare power that only D-rank awakened and above can use. But the director of the runner-up academy just scoffs, saying it's just an early awakening and it's no big deal. Taunting his rival, the director of Yunhu Academy asks why he tried to steal the student if he thinks she's so weak. Totally unamused and annoyed, the man just grumbles, trying to hide his own hypocrisy. Announcing the 6th match, the next fighter from the 3-time champion academy gets ready for the fight. In just 5 seconds, competitor Wang Zhuo knocks out his opponent with a single punch before he can even attack. Impressed by the ridiculous strength, the crowd acknowledges the power of Shuang Academy, the back-to-back 3-time champ. With a look of pure boredom, the winner thinks there's zero suspense in this year's tournament. Praising the student personally trained by Director Lee, one of the directors reinforces that their strength is on a whole other level. Repeating his arrogant line, Director Lee says the stronger a dog thinks it is, the louder it barks. Staring down the rival, Director Who just tells them to wait and see what happens. Thoughtful, Professor Zhang says they can't even interfere in this match, leaving everything in the students' hands. Admitting his low expectations, Director Who thinks that if the kid wins even one round, that'll already be a big win. After the 7th match is announced, the hero stretches, not believing he'll be the last one to fight. His boss suggests he just borrow some power to end the fight, but the kid refuses, afraid of being investigated. Suddenly, one of the female competitors walks up, saying he got unlucky, ending up with the last match. Introducing herself as one of the earlier fighters, the girl reveals his opponent is one of the top contenders for the title. Questioning why his opponent would use such a powerful move, the hero finds out the fight for funding is brutally cutthroat. Thanking her for the warning, the kid asks why she decided to help him with that info. Explaining that her director is friends with his, the young woman tells him to consider her an ally. Revealing her plan, the girl says she was hoping he'd wear down a few opponents for her, but since the next one is strong, she wishes him good luck. Thinking about the warning, the guy wonders if his opponent is really that insanely strong. With the crowd screaming, the announcer finally says the last match of the first round is about to begin. In the stands, the other competitors are super hyped, barely able to wait for the round's final fight. Celebrating the matchup, everyone thinks it's going to be pure drama, having his fight as the big finale. Being welcomed onto the stage, the hero is surprised by the warm reception, not expecting that at all. Hearing the name Lei Che, the kid realizes the warm reception wasn't for him, which makes him feel a bit awkward. With a triumphant entrance, the real crowd favorite appears. Seeing it, the crowd goes crazy, yelling and cheering for their idol's arrival. The blonde competitor gives off an imposing presence. Then the big screen shows the bracket for the 8th match, confirming that Zhou Chen from Later Academy will face Lei Che from Zhongshan Academy. As the narrator introduces the opponent, Lei Che's story is revealed as a genius who reached level 4 in 4 years. Seeing the crowd chanting the opponent's name, the scene focuses on the fans' excitement in the stands. Completely smitten, the girls in the crowd scream non-stop, showing their unconditional support. Watching the scene, the class rep comments that the opponent even has a fan club, while nobody is cheering for the hero. Snapping back arrogantly, a fan says it's obvious, since her idol is handsome and strong, and his opponent has a bad personality. Blowing up with anger, the class rep yells that she's the hero's #1 fan, defending him tooth and nail. Annoyed by the nerve, the opponent's fan starts arguing, refusing to accept any insults toward her idol. The two stare each other down with pure hatred. Shouting at the top of her lungs, the class rep cheers for the kid, while the opponent's fan does the same. Seeing it from afar, their classmates are shocked by the class rep's fierce attitude, never having seen her like that before. Inside the arena, with the crowd going wild, everyone waits to see the show the prodigy kid is about to put on. Realizing the slip-up, the host gets super embarrassed for getting carried away and forgetting to introduce one of the competitors. Apologizing, her co-host tries to fix the situation, promising a big introduction for the forgotten fighter. To the hero's embarrassment, the announcer says he has no past achievements and no special technique. Thinking to himself, the kid regrets not buying at least one technique before the fight. Mocking the situation, the other competitors comment that his school must have spent everything just to train a single level 4. Laughing at the class rep, the opponent's fan taunts her, calling her school beginner level. With an arrogant smile, the rival principal walks up, saying he feels bad that they have to leave the tournament without a single win. Clearly annoyed, Principal Hu just ignores the jab, while his friend says every school has a first time. Out in the arena, the blonde opponent stares down the protagonist, saying he's unlucky to run into him in the very first round. Keeping the trash talk going, the guy suggests the kid should just quit, but he refuses. Then, full of arrogance, the enemy offers to fight using only 1/10 of his power so the loss will look more respectable. Turning down the humiliating offer, the hero gets irritated and repeats that they're going to fight normally. Seeing the opponent appear out of nowhere right next to the kid, the narrator wonders if he's holding back to decide the fight. Charging in with a confident grin, the blonde competitor throws a quick attack at the protagonist, stopping the strike in mid-air. The blonde guy throws a flurry of super fast punches without actually hitting, just showing off. Shocked by what he's seeing, the narrator wonders if it's some kind of special technique, while the crowd goes wild. Seeing the afterimages, the announcer realizes they're clones made by insane speed, making the fight exciting. Watching the fight, the allied competitor comments that the blonde opponent really is a pain to deal with. The rival principal brags, thinking it took a lot of effort to find a genius at that level. Mocking the kid's lack of reaction, the opponent asks why he isn't moving. The blonde guy boasts that he's superior, and that it must be tough for Zhou Chen to face an opponent like him. Seeing the attack coming right at him, the hero stays still. He taunts him, saying he's not going to dodge. To the enemy's surprise, the kid just raises his arm at the last second, smashing the opponent's chin with brutal force. The narrator is stunned, not understanding what the hell just happened. With the opponent down on the ground, the narrator looks it over, wondering if the blonde guy got careless. Seeing the opponent's fans accusing him of cheating, the kid gets confused by the tournament's weird rules. Shocked by the turnaround, Principal Hu's friend praises the clean hit, admitting his student has real depth. Refusing to accept the loss, the Shuang Academy principal accuses Leader School of hiring a ringer. Firing back, Principal Hu asks if he thinks he's smarter than the higher-ups who reviewed the tournament. Annoyed by the noise, the principal of the 3-time champion academy complains about the argument, calling the whole thing a disgrace. Suddenly, the blonde competitor props himself up off the ground, saying the match isn't over yet. Before the narrator can announce the end of the fight, the opponent cuts him off, asking him to wait a second. Getting to his feet, the guy yells that he still hasn't lost and the fight officially continues. Admitting he underestimated the kid, the blonde guy says from that moment on, he won't go easy anymore. Letting out an electric aura, he yells that he can't suppress his thunder power anymore. Promising to make his thunderous light roar across the whole arena, the enemy unleashes an absurd amount of power. Feeling that intense stellar energy, the hero braces for what's coming, dashing at high speed. Watching from afar, the narrator wonders if he's about to use that special move, the special battle technique. With a smirk, the blonde guy is sure he'll win the fight with his strongest strike. Using his thunderous explosive kick, he launches a devastating attack at the kid. But once again, the hero counters with a clean punch, breaking the opponent's technique. The impact sends him bouncing across the arena. Mocking his opponent, the kid says he should have attacked before he got used to his speed. Surprised, the narrator says Lei Che got launched into the air once again by Zhou Chen. Seeing the opponent's stellar stone turn red, the narrator confirms he's completely lost the ability to fight. Announcing the result, the kid wins the final match, but worries because he almost couldn't hold back his strength. Stunned by the speed, the crowd says they couldn't even really see what happened in the fight, revealing the quarterfinal. Bracket, the hero moves on to face Xiao Ran from the Blue Extreme Division. In the second quarterfinal match, Lan Chin beats his opponent with a single strike from his weapon, locking in his spot. Right after that, in the third match, Wang Zhuo wins with one punch, advancing to the next round. Impressed by yet another one-hit win, the crowd figures the guy must have been holding back before. Ignoring the previous fight, everyone's attention turns to the next match as his opponent stares him down with killing intent. Clearly stunned, the guys in the crowd can barely believe what they're seeing in the arena. Living up to his name, the opponent's explosive fist attacks from vicious angles that are hard to block. Dodging like he can predict every move, the hero avoids every strike with a scary calm. At a speed so ridiculous no one can even react, the kid lands the finishing blow and wins the fight. Looking over the fight, the directors notice the guy didn't even use a combat technique, just stellar energy. Suspecting some kind of cheating, one of the directors wonders if he's above level 4 or if he used illegal drugs. Right after that, the next fight is announced, the first semi-final, putting the hero up against Liu Yue. But to everyone's surprise, 2 men in suits walk into the arena, stopping the tournament. Totally confused, the crowd wonders who those people are and what they're doing there. Handing over a strange device, the man in the suit tells the kid to put it on and release his stellar energy. From their presence alone, the competitors figure they're special inspectors sent to verify the hero's level. Realizing he overdid it, the kid understands he needs to be more careful so he doesn't stand out so much. Showing the test result, the device confirms his name is Zhou Chen from later Academy and that he's rank E, level 4. Confirming the check is complete, the inspectors find no discrepancy in his level and no sign of drugs. Announcing it to the crowd, the commentator confirms the kid's level is correct and the tournament will continue. Shocked by the result, the other competitors can't believe he beat so many opponents. Facing the next challenge, his semi-final opponent wonders if the kid is really that strong. But with yet another one-hit win, the white-haired competitor goes flying, defeated instantly. Shouting into the mic in disbelief, the narrator announces the hero secures the win and advances to the grand final. With a proud smile, Director Hu's friend comments that his student really is something special. Congratulating Director Hu on the win, the other directors praise his dedication and his student's talent. With pure contempt in their eyes, the rival directors just watch from afar, clearly annoyed by the situation. Thinking about how he made it to the final in his first tournament, the director swells with pride that the kid didn't let him down. Meanwhile, the competitor Lan Chin gets ready to fight for her academy's honor. Stepping into the arena, the girl stares at her opponent across from her, ready to fight. Releasing a dark aura, the competitor Wang Zhuo prepares for battle as the referee gives the signal. Confirming the semi-final bracket, the screen shows the hero has already advanced and that the second match will be between Wang Zhuo and Lan Chin. Yelling from the stands, fans of one of the competitors cheer as hard as they can for their veteran's victory. Spotting a good chance to attack, the fighter charges in with everything, kicking off the match, landing a straight hit to her opponent's chest. But the guy looks like he didn't feel the hit at all. Unable to believe what she's seeing, the girl is stunned, wondering how her attack was useless. Grabbing her arm easily, the competitor asks arrogantly if she has any status. She tries to break free, landing a hit on him. The guy says he thinks the whole situation is just ridiculous. The blonde fighter readies her next attack. Using her special ability, she creates several energy bindings that completely restrain the enemy's body. Then she uses her kicking technique, hitting him dead on. Satisfied that every hit landed, the girl thinks that should be enough to win. Walking out of the smoke, the guy calls her pathetic, leaving the fighter completely shocked. Not understanding when he got close, the young woman freezes up with no time to react. Using his own combat ability, the competitor lands a blow on the girl. With a single attack, he sends her flying far away. Seeing the arena wrecked, the crowd says both sides are strong and that guy is a monster. Watching from the stands, the blonde fighter's fans worry about their veteran. From a distance, the director of Yunhu Academy just watches the fight, hoping his student can hold on. Lying on the ground, badly hurt, the competitor drops her lucky charm beside her. Seeing the small object on the ground, an important memory hits her in that moment of desperation. She tells herself she still can't go down, that she has to keep fighting. In a scene from the past, she walks into the classroom and asks why all the female students are gathered there. Explaining the situation, one of the girls says that if the academy stipend gets cut, she'll have to go back to work. The senior promises she'll win the district championship, securing the stipend so everyone can keep studying. Hearing that promise, the younger student asks with hopeful eyes if it's really true. The younger classmate grabs something for the senior. Handing over a lucky charm her mom made, the girl says it'll bring good luck and that they'll always support her. Holding it carefully, the senior smiles and says, then it's a deal, an agreement sealed between them. Back in the arena, even completely worn out, the blonde fighter repeats the words of their deal in a weak voice. Stepping on her charm, the opponent stares at her with contempt, asking why she's fighting so desperately. With a ruthless kick, the competitor attacks the girl, mocking her for being so boring. Seeing her starstone turn red, the system detects she's lost the ability to fight. With the victory declared, the opponent is crowned the winner of the semi-final. But the rival gets ready to land a final blow on the already defeated opponent, saying the heroine's journey ends here. Panicking, the announcer yells for them to stop the fight since the match is over and he needs to hold back. Shocked, the crowd wonders what the hell he's trying to do, attacking someone who already lost. Running in a panic, Academy Director Yunhu shouts for him to stop right now before a tragedy happens. Asking for the master to step in, one of the organizers warns that if he doesn't interfere, someone's going to die there. But in the blink of an eye, someone grabs the girl. The hero asks if bullying someone who can't fight back is his academy's style. The competitor wonders who that guy is who dared to interfere, and the boy reveals his identity. Completely shocked, the announcer screams into the mic that the protagonist saved the competitor at the critical moment. Rushing over to help, Academy Director Yunhoo thanks the heavens his student is safe. Watching from afar, the crowd gets furious, saying the guy went too far and hoping the hero teaches him a lesson. With a smug look, the attacker says, "It doesn't matter who it is, because one more or one less makes no difference." Letting out an oppressive aura, the boy just tells them to try their luck. Seeing that both competitors agreed to go straight to the final, the medical team takes the injured fighter away. In the stands, the protagonist's classmates run into their friends from the elite class. Asking what's going on, the class rep says the hero managed to make it to the grand final. But with a worried expression, the girl adds that his opponent doesn't look easy to deal with at all. From a distance, Director Hu watches the big screen, worried about the boy's safety facing a lunatic like that. Just telling them not to worry, the hero shows unshakable confidence for the fight. Staring at the protagonist, the opponent taunts him, saying he doesn't stand a chance. Not having the patience for pointless talk, the boy cuts him off and asks if they're going to fight or not. With a murderous look, the attacker stays silent. With both fighters ready, the announcer declares that the tournament's grand final is about to begin. Without wasting a second, the villain lands an attack on the protagonist. The attack even creates pressure in the air. Mocking the boy, the opponent says he thought he'd be more impressive. Catching the enemy off guard, the hero says that's his line, leaving the guy stunned. Not even feeling the hit, the protagonist asks if that's all the current champion has to show. The hero tries to grab the opponent, who barely manages to dodge. Gritting his teeth in rage, the opponent activates his battle technique called Boiling Blood. When their fists collide, the two create an energy explosion that echoes through the whole arena. Stunned by the scene, the commentators say they've never seen a show like this in a level 4 match. Watching the fight from afar, the boy's friends realize he'd been holding back the whole time in training. At that moment, the enemy leaves an opening for a direct attack. Immediately, the hero lands a hook on the opponent. Impressed by what he's seeing, the teacher admits he didn't expect the boy to be able to fight him evenly. Tasting his own blood, the rival is stunned, not believing he got hurt. Realizing he was injured by a rookie, rage takes over his whole being. Screaming with pure hatred, he pushes his technique to the max, his whole body turning red. Analyzing the technique, the entity in the book finds it interesting, forcing star energy to explode. The boy realizes the opponent's speed has increased even more with the new technique. Turning on his perception, though, he says it's pointless since his focused mind massively boosts his senses. Seeing the intensity of the fighter's stellar energy, the assistant asks the master if they should request an inspection. The master explains that the competitor has used this technique before and that it doesn't count as a violation. Curious about the fight, the man notices the kid doesn't seem to have used his full strength since the start. In a frantic exchange of blows, the two keep attacking non-stop, and the hero's teammates notice something weird. Watching closely, they realize the protagonist is steering the enemy's attacks toward a specific direction. Dodging a strike, he uses the opponent's own strength against him, breaking his stance. With a precise attack, the hero lands a clean hit, showing he's the better fighter. Pushing the enemy back, he keeps the combo going, not giving the other guy a chance to react. Fuming, the guy admits the kid is the first one to push him this far at the same level. Refusing to lose, the enemy unleashes an energy blast. The hero just asks if that's all he's got. Activating his borrowed power, he's ready to end the fight once and for all. With his perception maxed out, the kid says he can see every one of the opponent's strikes clearly. Thanks to the skill, he can spot the opponent's weak point, the heart. Throwing a pinpoint strike, he hits the enemy in the chest. Screaming in pain, the guy staggers back and the kid gets ready to punch him. Shocking everyone, he blocks the next hit, thinking it's impossible for the hero's speed to still be increasing. Unable to believe it, the opponent panics, not understanding how that's possible. Shouting again that he's the strongest, he unleashes a burst of stellar energy. With a cold look, the protagonist says it ends now. Charging in with everything, the enemy yells for the kid to die. When their fists collide, a massive energy explosion erupts in the middle of the arena. The force of the impact is so insane it creates a huge shockwave. Watching the smoke clear, Director Hu desperately asks what the result was. In the middle of the dust, the announcer shouts the enemy's name, Wang Zhuo. Kneeling on the ground, the opponent finally loses the ability to fight, his stellar stone falling. Walking out of the wrecked arena, the announcer declares the only one still standing in the end is Zhou Chen. With the hero's victory, his academy pulls off a historic comeback, securing the overall championship. Celebrating the win, the kid's friends shout with joy, saying they knew he could do it. Proud of the result, Teacher John congratulates the protagonist, saying he made them really proud. With tears in his eyes, Director Hu celebrates that they finally won't have to beg for subsidies anymore. Seeing the director still in the stands, the other directors decide to go congratulate him on the historic win. With pure hatred in his eyes, the rival academy's director just curses, unable to accept the humiliating defeat. Running to join the celebration, the runner-up academy's director doesn't want to miss out on the party. From afar, the rank S master finds the kid interesting and decides his mission there is over. Walking toward the exit, the man sees a familiar figure in the hallway, which surprises him. Realizing the person really came, he wonders if the reason is the kid. Commenting on the hero's talent, the white-haired man says he didn't expect a district that backward to produce someone like that. Asking the white-haired young woman, the old man wonders if she thinks she can bring the kid into their guild. Being the girl the protagonist met at that underground tournament, she promises she'll do her best to recruit him. Meanwhile, on stage, the award ceremony is about to begin, with the trophy shining under the spotlights. Celebrating the victory, Director Hu gives a speech saying they proved that even small places can raise a golden phoenix. Getting bombarded by camera flashes, the kid poses for photos, thinking it's more exhausting than the fight. The next day, in the director's office, showing the newspaper headline about the district's miracle, the director thanks the kid, saying all of it was thanks to him. Handing over what he'd promised, the man says he hopes it can help, while the entity is happy to get the item. Warning that the specialized institutes will be in touch soon, the academy head asks him not to forget the school. Leaving the director's office, the hero runs into an unexpected surprise in the hallway. Asking why everyone is there when school's on break, the blonde veteran answers that they came looking for him. Celebrating that the tournament barely ended and the schools already sent the notices, his buddy reveals that they all got accepted into the 5 big academies. Congratulating them, the protagonist says that with their skills, it'd be weird if they didn't get in. Saying, however, that their goals won't be limited, the senior promises that one day they'll be the greatest partners. Explaining what she meant, the girl warns that they're going to be relying a lot on the boy from now on. Agreeing. With the idea, the hero says of course they can, since being alone is boring. Celebrating together, the boy also promises that in the future, they'll train a lot to get stronger. All of a sudden, a timid voice comes out of nowhere, cutting off the group's excitement. Working up the courage, the class rep asks if she can join them, saying she also wants to become stronger. Impressed by the super modern shiny academy, the class rep just stares with her mouth open. With her eyes sparkling with excitement, the young girl can barely believe that's the honors class. Thanking the boy for taking her request seriously, he just says he didn't do much. Bowing formally, the girl thanks the principal and everyone for letting her use the equipment. Explaining his future plans, the principal reveals he's going to remove the class restrictions so all students can train. Celebrating the victory subsidy, the principal says he can finally do what he's always wanted. Thanking each of them, he gathers the team to celebrate the academy's historic moment. Complaining about everything, the blonde senior cries that the school only got renovated after he graduated. Telling him to shut up, the big brute of a guy says not to ruin the celebratory mood. Joking about it, the principal says that if he misses the school, he can just come back to visit. Asking the class rep, the pink-haired senior asks why she's training so hard during vacation. Explaining that she used to think she had no talent, the young girl says seeing everyone fight for their dreams inspired her. Getting super emotional over her friend's determination, the senior cries, saying there's only 1 month left until registration. Promising to help with everything, her friend encourages her, and the other seniors also offer to lend a hand. Asking about the boy's plans, Shen Jirui wants to know which school he's going to, but the hero says he still hasn't gotten any letter. Shocked by the news, his buddy says that's impossible, since even they got accepted into the 5 big ones. Cutting in, the principal calls the protagonist over, saying he was just about to talk about that. Handing over a red envelope, the man reveals that his admission notice had just arrived. Crowding around the boy, everyone gets super hyped, asking which of the 5 big academies invited him. Showing the letter, the message is an invitation from Dawnblade Professional Academy, one of the most prestigious. Yelling in shock, the blonde senior can barely believe it, asking if that's the Dawn Academy that's above the 5 big ones. Seeing the boy's blank expression, his buddy asks in disbelief if he has no idea what that means. Explaining the power hierarchy, Shen Jiarui reveals that in the country, there are the 5 most recognized speaker academies. Showing the symbols of each one, he says they all represent authority, strength, and top-tier privileges. But above all 5 of those institutions, there's one that's on a completely different level. That's the legendary Dawn Academy, which gets total priority when choosing students. Questioning the logic, the hero asks why it isn't 6 big academies, since the other one's status is so high. Jumping into the conversation, the principal explains that Dawn's value can't be compared because it was founded to wipe out the rift. Saying it's confidential, the man says that since they now have authorization from the inner zone, he can explain briefly. Worried because she doesn't have authorization, the class rep asks if she should leave, but the principal tells her to relax. Summing it up, the head of the academy describes the rift as a vast world full of creatures. Because when one of those rifts appears, the speakers have to go in and eliminate the bizarre creatures that come out of it. Even though clearing a rift brings a lot of fame and fortune, the principal warns that the danger is way bigger than they imagine. Talking about his past, the man reveals he used to be part of a cleanup squad, but his team suffered terrible losses. He says that in the end, a key member was badly injured, the team's morale broke, and they split up. He also reveals that even though other academies use the rift in exams, Dawn's are the hardest. Advising the hero to think carefully, the man warns that if he refuses, other schools will still want to recruit him. Answering confidently, the boy confirms he's going because it's a chance to get stronger that he can't afford to miss. The director admits he was already expecting that answer, feeling like the kid is going to become a remarkable warrior. Right after that, his buddy Shenjirui backs him up, saying that if everyone gets strong together, they won't need to fear that rift. Noticing the date on the letter, his friend points out there are only 10 days left until classes start. Needing to hurry up and get ready, the protagonist says goodbye, and his friends promise they'll take care of the representative's training. Arriving at his apartment, while he packs his things, thinking about what else he needs to bring, a purple flame appears out of nowhere in the middle of the living room, making the boy turn around, shocked by the sudden appearance. At that moment, his boss shows up, and along with him, the stone the hero took from the director appears floating. Coming out of the same portal, a bizarre hand appears, stretching out to touch the item that has a strange energy. The energy is pulled out of the crystal just drops and shatters into 1,000 pieces on the floor, while the hero can only watch. Completely stunned, the boy screams in desperation about his crystal that just got destroyed. Kneeling on the floor, he laments that he wanted to trade the item for money, but his boss reveals the stone is useless now. Remembering he got accepted into Dawn Academy, he sees the perfect chance to pay off his debts, but then he remembers the danger. The entity explains that the rifts are nothing to be afraid of, and that stellar energy comes from the same place. Asking if there's any reward for that, the hero sees that one of his wishes has just been granted. Seeing on the wish list that the mission was completed, his boss mocks him, asking if he thinks he's a genie in a lamp. Since his goals are tied to the rifts, the creature decides to help, regaining a bit of its strength. Telling the kid to hang in there, the entity completely wraps him in a dark energy. At that moment, a system message warns that a fragment of the authority of creation is connecting to him. After finishing the scan, the system converts the excess energy and levels him up to E6. Successfully finishing the process, the system confirms he acquired the fragment of the authority of creation. Asking what that fragment is, the hero asks what it did to his body and who Sato Suto is. Explaining that Sato Suto is an old friend, the entity reveals the power is a gift from her that can draw out his full potential. Thinking it's all way too complicated just to level up, the boy questions the entity, and it calls him a fool. Because for losers, level only affects basic physical stats, and what really matters is the first awakening at rank D. Remembering the athlete Lan Chin, who awakened her potential early, the boy understands this power is important. The boss, however, cuts him off, saying the authority of creation is tied to his cognition and it's better to test it right away. Testing the new power, he realizes he no longer absorbs stellar energy, and the old system changed into a video game style. Looking at the new status screen, the protagonist checks his info, wondering if there's a shop. Right after that, several other windows pop up, showing an exchange and management shop, but everything is locked. Trying to level up, he finds out he needs a substance called soul, extracted from rift creatures. Complaining to the entity, the hero says that without being able to rely on stellar energy, he doesn't have the strength to enter a rift. Sighing, the book grumbles that the boy is a lot of work and that it feels chained to him. Revealing that another wish was completed, the entity shows that the mission to survive was a success. Immediately, a reward notification appears, and the protagonist gets Kedra's magic armor. Asking what that is, the boy is surprised to find out he got a magic piece of equipment. As the energy materializes in his hand, the description reveals it's a fragment of the armor of the hero King Kedra. Totally hyped about the new armor, which boosts his strength and defense, the hero feels way more confident. The entity says that cost all the power it had saved up, treating the gift like an advance investment. Accepting the scolding, the boy thanks his boss for the kindness and promises he'll work hard. The very next day, the boy gets ready to leave. Talking with his director and friends, he explains the trip is quick and that he can't wait to start school. Taking the opportunity, the hero asks a favor, handing an envelope to his old director. Asking why he doesn't deliver it himself, the boy makes up the excuse that he has issues with his sister. Agreeing to look after his family, the principal reassures him, and his friends promise to visit him in 6 months. Waving goodbye to everyone, the protagonist finally leaves to start at his new academy. Arriving at the city's huge airport, heading straight to the service counter, the girl asks if he needs a visa and a ticket to the intermediate level. Asking the reason for his trip, the attendant gets confused when the boy says it's to enroll. Asking for proof of enrollment, the woman waits for the document, and the hero shows his admission card. Recognizing the card, the employee is shocked, revealing it's an ID card from Dawn Academy. Impressed by the situation, the girl can barely believe a boy who looks so ordinary got accepted. Just waiting for an answer, the boy stands there without understanding her over-the-top reaction. Asking if he doesn't need an acceptance letter, the attendant apologizes for being rude. Pointing the way to the plane, she explains that with his status, flights to the intermediate level don't require a ticket. Already inside the plane, in first class, he wonders if this is just another one of Dawn Academy's perks. Thinking about the challenge waiting for him, he only thinks about not letting anyone down as the pilot announces they'll arrive tomorrow. Standing at the academy entrance, the boy thinks the place is grand, but strangely quiet. Looking for info at reception, he asks where new students should register, and the staff member asks for his card. Looking over the file with the protagonist's name and photo, the man seems to recognize him right away. Catching the boy off guard, the upperclassman says he was waiting for him, but the newcomer insists he doesn't know anyone there. Explaining the situation, the guy reveals it's not him, but someone else who really wants to meet him. Taking the hero to a courtyard with a strange stone, the upperclassman tells him to stand in the middle and touch the tablet. Curious about the place that looks like a secret passage, the boy asks what that is. Touching the stone with his card, an energy starts to glow, and the upperclassman warns he might feel dizzy. In the blink of an eye, the scenery changes completely, and the two of them appear somewhere else. Explaining that the academy's real location is much farther away, the upperclassman says the person who called him is already waiting. Finally arriving at a gigantic white mansion, the guide simply announces they've reached their destination. Announcing their arrival to Miss Lin, the guide says he brought the person she asked for. Inside the room, a white-haired girl sits calmly with 2 more people by her side. Greeting the boy by name, the young woman asks if he still remembers her. Recognizing her face right away, the hero confirms she's the girl who saved him in the Forbidden District. Right after that, one of the assistants transfers the money to the guide, who says goodbye and leaves the two of them alone. Asking why he was called, the boy barely starts talking when a green-haired guy cuts him off. In a tone of pure contempt, the brute calls him a filthy commoner, demanding to know who gave him permission to come close. Defending her guest, Lin tells Kui Mingcheng to shut up, warning that the hero is her guest. Inviting the boy to sit down and talk, the young woman tries to calm things down, but he refuses. Summing it up, the girl explains her guild is short-staffed, and that's why she wants to recruit him. Making an offer he can't refuse, the veteran offers 30 million, leaving the hero in shock. Completely outraged, the brute yells that amount could hire 3 rank B speakers. But the young woman stares at her subordinate with a deadly look and asks, since when he's the one making decisions for her. Totally terrified by her reaction, the guy stammers and tries to apologize, wondering who the hell that newbie is. Just watching the scene in silence, the purple-haired assistant doesn't even seem surprised by her boss's outburst. Trying to convince the boy, the veteran says he just arrived and probably hasn't joined any guild yet. Thinking about the offer, the hero admits he'd be lying if he said he wasn't tempted, but wonders why she'd do that. Suddenly, a voice comes over the loudspeaker calling all new students to the meeting hall. Seeing the offer came out of nowhere, the young woman suggests he think it over, and that he choose her as his mentor. Agreeing to think about the offer, the boy still seems a little unsure about what to do. Then Lin asks her assistant to take the hero to the meeting hall. The assistant confirms. Now in the huge meeting hall, several students are already seated, waiting for the event to start. At that moment, a blonde guy with an arrogant look thinks he always stands out. Think about how he heard that the Lin family's oldest daughter is there, and that, if he can marry her, business will take off. Sizing up the newbie, the blonde guy thinks he's pathetic and decides to sit next to him to look even better. When they get to the stage, a gray-haired man says he's got things to do, and he'll keep the speech quick. Introducing himself as Jiang Hui, the semester's instructor, he warns that he won't hold anyone's hand. Explaining that if they were accepted, they were already considered geniuses at some point, the instructor tells everyone to forget their old glory. Summing it up, the man says the rift is like a hunt where a speaker can be the hunter or the prey. Going over the school's resources, the instructor explains they can learn more in the library or train in the rooms. He also mentions that every week different teachers give lectures so students can sharpen their skills. Giving one last piece of advice. The man tells them to learn whatever they want, because the more they understand the rift, the stronger they'll become. Noticing there's no fear in their eyes, the master praises the newbies' ambition and says they passed the first stage. Making the school's reward appear, the instructor tosses several skill stones to the students. Totally shocked, the students recognize the stones, talking about how expensive they are. Absorbing the skill stone, the hero gains the Eye of Perception, a universal technique for detecting rift writing. Cutting the celebration short, the instructor announces they'll have 2 exams ahead, the first being to clear a rift. Revealing the second condition, the students need to reach rank D and awaken their potential, which makes everyone panic. With an arrogant smile, the blonde veteran brags that he's rank E5 and says getting to rank D will be easy. Thinking about his situation, the boy realizes that, being rank E6, he can't count on supplements. Asking the class for silence, the master explains that the school has special potions and will assign mentors. Right then, a white-haired figure appears in the doorway, drawing everyone's attention in the hall, leaving the newbies with their mouths hanging open. Introducing the veterans, the instructor reveals they'll be the freshmen's mentors during the admission exam. He explains that the new students can choose one of them as a supervisor to organize the entrance test. Seeing the white-haired girl, the newbies are stunned, barely believing they're seeing a famous figure in person. Whispering about the veteran, one of the students reveals she's the heir to the powerful Shenhua Guild. Thinking it over, the boy thinks about that Shenhua Guild, understanding how important the veteran Lin is. Without wasting time, one of the students straight up confesses to the young woman, saying he enrolled in the school just for her. Smiling calmly, the girl turns him down, explaining she's from the magic department and doesn't have much to teach. After that, several other students try their luck, but they all get turned down the same way. Watching the scene, the other girls comment that the guild standards are way too high and decide to pick another veteran. From a distance, the instructor looks frustrated with the situation, thinking about that girl Lin En and how she makes things complicated. Giving the veteran a warning, the instructor says she needs to take at least 1 new student this year. With a cold, determined look, the young woman seems to get an idea. Her gaze locks onto our boy, who gets completely awkward, not knowing what to say in that situation. Seeing that everyone before him got rejected, the blonde guy fills up with confidence, sure his chance has come. Pure arrogance, the guy brags about his looks and talent, believing there's no way he'll get turned down. But before he could make his move, the hero stands up and calls the veteran Lin En by name. Saying he's looking not just for knowledge, but also to be by her side, he asks her to be his supervisor. Seeing it, the veteran looks visibly surprised. Mocking the situation, one of the students says the guy didn't learn his lesson, and that with that useless intro, she'll refuse. To everyone's surprise, the young woman simply says yes, leaving the student jaw-dropped. The girl says he's the chosen one. Completely shocked, the blonde guy yells in disbelief, wondering what her selection criteria even is. Now in the mission hall, the hero asks why she chose him. Questioning the logic, he says a guild that big shouldn't need a newbie like him. Revealing a bit of her reasons, the veteran admits she recruited him not just for the guild, but also for personal reasons. Explaining that she's already set everything up, the girl says the focus now is on how to pass the entrance test. Pointing to the side, she shows who the other team members are for the challenge. In front of the boy, 4 figures appear, his teammates for the test. Getting everyone's attention, one of the girls suggests they introduce themselves to start the mission. Introducing herself as Su Han, a level 5 rank C, the woman says she'll be the test examiner. Right after that, the blonde girl introduces herself as Liu Wei, in charge of treating the team's injuries. Introducing herself as Zhao Lin, the archer says she'll handle long-range support. In an arrogant tone, the warrior introduces himself as Li Rui, a level 3 rank D, the team leader. Noticing the boy has no gear, the leader asks if he's awakened any special potential. To the warrior's shock, the hero reveals he's just a rank E newbie and still hasn't awakened his potential. Seeing that complaining won't help, the healer says the teams are already set and there's nothing to do. Giving the newbie some advice, the blonde girl tells him to stay close to her when they enter the rift. With a sigh, the healer explains that, without a weapon or potential, he can't even hurt the creatures. Back at reception, the team leader requests the evaluation, and it's approved with the rift assigned to room 1. Using a fragment of the world tree, the group leader manages to actively open a portal to the rift. With the rift open, the warrior tells the team to get ready to go in. Feeling the dense stellar energy, the hero thinks this is finally a real rift. He just hopes they can find the enhancement item without too much trouble. Inside the rift, the team appears in a cave, totally different from what they expected. They don't even have time to adjust before the girls realize the enemies have already spotted them. Shouting for them to form the standard formation, the team leader gets ready to fight. Impressed by how fast the team moves, the boy notices they snap into battle formation instantly. Using her stealth combat skill, the examiner vanishes, saying the test has begun. Yelling that the enemies are coming, the team leader braces for the first attack. Seeing the rank D shadow demon wolves, the warrior pushes to the front line, holding the attack back. With a shield, he blocks the creature's bite, realizing its sharp sense of smell gave them away. Supporting from afar, the archer uses her Gale arrow skill, hitting the wolves with a rain of arrows. The team leader uses his frenzied slash skill, but thinks the enemies are way too weak. Charging into the pack, the warrior overextends, and the archer yells at him to wait. Caught off guard, the archer gets bitten on the arm by one of the wolves that slipped through. Immediately, the healer gets ready to help, saying she'll heal her teammates' wounds. But before she can do anything, one of the demon wolves lunges to attack her. Panicking, the blonde girl freezes in fear, with no time to react to the attack. In the blink of an eye, our boy appears in front of her and knocks the wolf out with a single slap. Thanking him for the help, the girl is visibly relieved, and the hero just asks if she's okay. Suddenly, a system notification pops up showing he gained 1 proficiency point. Seeing the fallen wolf, the boy realizes he only gets souls by killing the beast personally. Figuring the stronger the target, the more souls he gets, the protagonist decides to go after the big one in the back. Fighting on the front line, the archer gets hit and desperately yells for healing, her whole arm scratched up. Running to help, the healer says she's on her way to support her injured teammate. Using her skill, the girl releases a healing light that closes the archer's wounds instantly. Impressed by the newbie's help, the healer says she didn't even see what happened, not believing he saved her. Watching the fight from afar, the examiner notices the team's coordination is awful, and the leader is only focused on having fun. Sizing things up, the woman understands the warrior's level makes up for his recklessness, but she's afraid the test will fail. Laughing at the situation, the team leader brags about how easy the test is and says he could clear everything by himself. Caught off guard from behind, the warrior yells, thinking the enemy hadn't noticed him. With an attack, he tries to hit the wolf, but the creature has some kind of armor that blocks the blow. Seeing his sword go flying through the air, the brute is stunned, not believing his attack got deflected. A giant rank D stone wolf appears, ready to attack. Without giving him time to react, the creature lunges and viciously bites the warrior's arm. Hearing the screams of pain, the girls on the team notice the new threat, shocked by the appearance of a stone wolf. Seeing that the leader's screams drew in more enemies, the archer realizes they're now completely surrounded. Desperately yelling at the healer, the leader tells her to come heal him, but the young girl warns him he's too far away. Putting all the blame on her, the guy says if they fail the test, it'll be because she was too slow, sending the girl into a panic. The archer yells for her teammate not to go, knowing getting close alone would be way too dangerous for her. Without giving her time to think, one of the stone wolves charges straight at the healer. Watching from afar, the examiner thinks it's ridiculous to send the backline in for a rescue, considering it basically suicide. Deciding the test can't be saved anymore, she gets ready to step in and end the mission. Suddenly, she notices something she didn't expect coming from the rookie's direction. But before the attack lands, the boy yanks the girl back, pulling her out of danger at the last second. Using his own body as a shield, he stops the stone wolf's bite with just one hand. Crushing the beast's head with his demonic armor, the hero finishes the monster and gets 30 soul crystals. Seeing this one was stronger than the last, the protagonist realizes stone armor is nothing compared to demonic power. Shouting for everyone to follow him, he announces he's going to carve a path so the team can get out of there safely. Without wasting time, he grabs the fallen warrior's sword. Running out in front of everyone, he forces a gap between the monsters. Finishing off another stone wolf with a single strike, he gets another 30 souls. Right after that, he drops yet another beast, scoring another 30 souls. Completely stunned, the examiner wonders how that rookie has such advanced skills. Not believing it, the archer and the healer ask if that power and speed are really from an E rank. Running up to support, the two push forward along the path, but right behind them, more stone wolves give chase. In a flash, the monsters pounce at the two girls as they run from the creatures. Seeing the danger, the boy yells for them both to duck immediately. In an instant, the hero wipes out all the wolves at once, racking up souls non-stop. With all the enemies down on the ground, the girls are safe. The boy says they should be safe for now and asks the healer to take care of the wounded. Still totally stunned, the two can barely believe he cleared everything in an instant. Meanwhile, the blonde girl uses her magic to heal the leader's arm, and he complains in pain. Standing guard beside the hero, the archer says she's fine and thanks the healer for the help. Seeing his counter at 210 souls, the boy realizes he got more than he expected. The leader yells that he was going to quit the test, leaving the boy and the archer surprised. Trying to calm things down, the healer steps in while the leader complains about carrying the team all by himself. Blowing up in anger, the archer says if he hadn't rushed in, they wouldn't be in this mess. Refusing to take the blame, the warrior says he got hurt because the others are trash. With an evil grin, he says if they want him to be the vanguard, they'll have to beg for it. All of a sudden, the boy simply tells him to wait there, leaving the brute confused. Taking the lead, the hero says he'll be the vanguard himself and that they're going to finish the test together. Mocking the situation, the warrior asks if the boy really wants to be the team's tank. Explaining it's a rare chance, the protagonist says he can't leave before leveling up. Laughing in his face, the brute calls him an idiot, saying he'll be dust in front of the final boss. Agreeing with the rookie's suggestion, the girls on the team leave the leader completely shocked by the decision. Seeing the boy's skills, the archer says it's worth trying and she doesn't want to give up the spot. She says at least the hero is more reliable than someone who cries over a scratch. Calling the boy to leave, the archer tells the leader to stay there if he's not coming with them. Fuming, the warrior wonders how they dare ignore him and promises they'll regret it. Deeper inside the cave, more wolves rush in to attack. Firing arrows, the archer manages to nail both monsters right in the head. Celebrating that she stopped the beast's attack, she supports the team. Praising her good work, the boy finishes off the wolves, getting more souls. Warning them about an ambush, the healer points at a shadow wolf and the archer is already getting ready. While the archer finishes off one of the wolves, a second one tries to attack from behind. Before it can get close, the beast gets knocked out and sent flying. Asking if they're okay, the hero shows up with his demonic armor activated. Seeing that was the last monster nearby, the team finally gets a moment to breathe. Impressed by how many beasts they killed, the archer doesn't even realize how fast it all went by. Praising the boy, the healer says it's because he's an amazing tank, and they're not feeling any pressure. Feeling like they're close to the final area, the archer gets excited to finish the test. All of a sudden, the young woman calls out to the newbie, curious. Asking about the blue light on the boy's arm, the archer says she's never seen anything like it before. Seeing he's been found out, the hero decides to make up an excuse saying he doesn't know what it is. Asking if that's armor, the healer figures it must be some kind of coupling type potential. Calling the boy out for lying, the archer says he told them he didn't have a potential when he joined the team. Explaining that he needs to report his potential so he won't get discriminated against, the healer warns that tanks are in high demand. Thinking back on the mission, the hero regrets losing a lot of souls because of the others. Looking at his counter showing 810 souls, he wonders if he'll get the chance to gather the 2,000 he needs. Watching the team from far away, the examiner can barely believe an E-rank freshman turned things around. Seeing the team is about to finish the test soon, she finally understands why Lin En insisted on putting him on the team. Something catches her attention in the rear. Realizing it's the former leader, the woman wonders why he's following the team. Reaching the end of the cave, the team finds a dead end, looking like it's the final area. Not understanding what's going on, they wonder why there's nothing there, since it's supposed to be the boss room. Theorizing about the mission, the healer suggests maybe there isn't a boss, but the archer thinks that's impossible. Thinking that if the rift doesn't close, the test won't be complete, the team wonders if this is a rare case. Activating his perception, the boy uses his ability to analyze the surroundings, sensing something off. Shouting to everyone, he warns them about a threat that's way above them. Seeing a giant creature coming down from the ceiling, the monster slams into the ground, throwing everyone back with the impact. Realizing it's a trap, the team understands the enemies were planning an ambush the whole time. Slowly the dust settles, revealing the silhouette of a terrifying creature. The girls on the team can barely believe what they're seeing, frozen. Emerging from the shadows, 3 giant D-rank demon wolves appear. Leading the pack, the Stone Wolf King, also D-rank, reveals itself. Dropping her stealth, the examiner yells for the team to fall back and that the test needs to be aborted. Explaining the situation, the woman says 3 elites and a boss are way beyond what this test is supposed to be. Warning them there's no way they can handle that. The veteran says she won't be able to protect them. Thinking about the number of souls, the boy figures those monsters must be worth a fortune. Suddenly, a mission notification pops up in front of him, catching the protagonist off guard. Revealing the wish mission, the system tasks him with obtaining the Stone Wolf King's soul. Remembering the contract, the boy understands the penalty for defying his boss is eternal punishment. So he realizes the system is cutting off all his escape routes, forcing him to fight. With a crooked grin, the boy thinks the system is seriously underestimating him. Turning to the veteran, he asks her to let him handle it. Activating his combat skill and the demonic armor, he says those guys are his. Yelling in panic, the examiner calls him an idiot, but the girls ask her to wait. Understanding that if the student insists, she has to respect his wish, the veteran backs off. Telling the girls to hide, the hero says for them to fall back if it gets too dangerous. Feeling the enemy's aura, he realizes they're on another level and that without his armor, he'd die. Strangely, the boy doesn't feel even a hint of fear in the face of that threat. Compared to the thing on his back, those guys are absolutely nothing. Charging in with everything, the wolf pack rushes to attack the hero. Immediately, the boy cranks his perception up to the max, dodging the Stone Wolf King's attack with insane speed. Right after that, he gets surrounded by the other monsters. Completely shocked, the girls can barely believe he's holding off 4 Lord-level monsters. Seeing the scene, the examiner admits it's the first time she's seen someone fight a Lord bare-handed. The examiner already realizes that Lord-level monsters aren't that simple. Dodging the demon wolf's attack, the boy notices that fighting 4 at once is way too dangerous. Deciding to cut their numbers down fast, he focuses on taking out the king first before his stamina runs out. With a clean punch, the protagonist lands a direct hit on the stone wolf, but he's caught off guard. The demon armor's full power attack wasn't enough since the beast protection didn't break. Then the Stone Wolf King activates its lord skill called rock armor. To the hero's surprise, all the cracks just heal in the blink of an eye. Realizing the monster is trying to win by wearing him out, the boy needs to find a way to break that stalemate. Watching everything from far away, the former leader can barely believe the newbie challenged 4 lords. Convincing himself the lords must be weak, he thinks that if it were him, it'd be easy. Full of envy, the brute decides this should have been his moment. Reckless, the warrior charges in with his sword in hand, aiming straight at the boy, planning to accidentally kill the hero, then finish off the lord and secure his future. The protagonist just blocks the strike without the slightest effort. With a smirk, the boy says, "That was the perfect moment." Sidestepping, the hero lets the leader take the hit from one of the wolves coming right at them. Desperate, the brute tries to use his defense-boosting skill, but it's too late. Getting hit head-on, the guy goes flying, completely defeated. With his armor shattered and no strength left to fight, the warrior gets knocked out. Taking advantage of the distraction, the hero grabs the former leader's sword. With the weapon in hand, he charges at the creatures, saying it's time to end this. Using all his soul points, he decides to put everything into agility. With agility raised from 0 to 5, the system leaves him with only 10 souls left. With the stat increase, he gains the exclusive combat skill Divine Speed. In the blink of an eye, he slices one of the demon wolves in half, getting 750 souls. The boy just confirms that one of the enemies is already down. Impressed by the new skill, he finds out it also gives a powerful passive effect. With this new skill in hand, he faces the last 2 wolves. With a clean strike, the boy finishes the second wolf, getting another 750 souls. Seeing it from far away, the examiner is stunned, not understanding how he got even faster. Facing the last demon wolf, the creature seems scared of the boy. Meanwhile, the girls on the team try to help the fallen former leader, but the monster notices them. Seeing the wolf charging, the archer yells for her partner to be careful, but it's too late. The archer refuses to be underestimated and prepares her skill. Using Converging Storm, she fires off an energy tornado. Taking advantage of the distraction, the boy runs in to finish the last enemy while the archer's attack fades. With a quick slash, he defeats the last wolf, getting another 750 souls. With the count at 2,260 souls, the protagonist finally has enough. Now only the Stone Wolf King is left, and the real battle is about to begin. Without hesitating, the boy uses all his souls and finally levels up. With the system confirming the level up, he goes from rank E level 6 to rank D level 1. Wrapped in an intense aura, the hero evolves to the next rank. Seeing the burst of power, the examiner and the girls on the team are left speechless. With a system notification, the boy learns his potential has been unlocked, granting him the power of the abyss. Wanting to reach full rank D, he gains an exclusive combat skill as a reward. Looking over the new skill, the hero gets ready to use it against the boss. Revealing Touch of Death, the technique lets him summon 4 tentacles from the abyss domain. With a simple checkmate, the shadowy tentacles pierce the Stone Wolf King, ending the fight. Gaining 5,000 souls all at once, the boy defeats the Rift boss with his new skill. Satisfied, he thinks the Lord-level monster was worth it, and that the piercing power made everything easier. Completing the wish mission, the protagonist gets the Stone Wolf King's crystal as a reward. Shocked by the victory, the girls can barely believe he beat a lord by himself. Confirming the Lord was defeated, the examiner explains that the energy fluctuations have stabilized. Celebrating the win, the two of them hug, happy they finally managed to pass the test. Thanking the newbie for carrying them, the girls bow, and he just asks them to call him by his name. Praising the duo's solid performance, the examiner gives 5 credits to each of them. She also says they did their part, followed the plan, and didn't give up, which deserves praise. Praising the boy's performance as the best she's ever seen, the woman gives him 15 credits. Completely shocked, the girls can't believe the hero got the highest score they've ever seen. Thanking the veteran, the boy gets told he'd deserve even more if it weren't for the limit. Suddenly, the former leader wakes up furious, asking why the hero ended up with his credits. Explaining the penalty, the woman accuses him of abandoning formation and attacking a teammate, voiding his results. Desperate, the brute tries to justify himself, saying he just wanted to end the fight faster. The examiner warns him that when the higher-ups look into his behavior, things are only going to get worse. Telling everyone to head back before the rift closes, the team gets ready to leave the cave. Back in the hall, the veteran says she's already sent the results and that the rewards will be transferred. Taking the chance, the girls ask for the boy's contact info, saying they'll call him for future missions. With a new offer, the examiner invites him to her guild, offering 3 million. Thinking it over, the hero refuses, saying he doesn't plan on joining any guild for now. Understanding that he's supposed to join the Shenhua guild, the woman says he'll be welcome if he changes his mind. Seeing the white-haired veteran coming over, the examiner comments that the test seems to have gone well. Calling out to the boy, Lin says she came to pick him up and asks what they were talking about, saying goodbye, the examiner. And the girls congratulate the protagonist on passing the test. Confirming she'd been waiting, the veteran says she didn't expect him to finish the test early. Showing the boy his new room, Lin points out a luxurious, nicely decorated space. Complimenting the place, the protagonist thinks the room is really good, and the veteran says he can ask for an even better one. Getting straight to the point, the boy says that now that he passed the test, she should tell him why she recruited him. The girl agrees to explain, saying she trusts him and that his performance in the test will shut certain people up. She explains she's only the official heir because her father was the former boss, but the guild has already split into 3 factions. To secure her position, she says she needs to rebuild her own loyal team with his help. Realizing she can't trust the old members, the hero asks why the hell she trusts him. Revealing she watched him in his fights, the veteran says what she values most in him is his obsession with power. The real reason comes out when the young woman asks if he isn't drowning in a massive debt. Explaining that she looked into his debt, she reveals that behind the small agency there's a big company. She explains that the head of that company is her rival, and that if the hero joins her, his data will be protected. Seeing that having a guild backing him is safer, the boy realizes he has no reason to refuse. Agreeing to help, the protagonist asks what he needs to do, and the young woman tells him to just go at his own pace. At that, the assistant makes a transfer to the boy. Surprised, he's stunned when he sees he received 5 million. Explaining that it's a sign of sincerity, the veteran says the rest will be paid later. Saying goodbye, the 2 girls leave him in his new room, and the hero thanks them for the help. Closing the door. Lying on the bed, he breathes a sigh of relief and decides to check what he earned today. Seeing that new features have been unlocked, he looks over his status and the exchange shop. When he checks the attribute upgrade screen, he realizes the costs to level up are way higher. Noticing a new potential attribute, the hero is surprised to see it costs double what the other souls do. Thinking through his strategy, he realizes that raising attributes unlocks new skills. Deciding to test the new attribute, he spends 1,600 souls to raise his potential by 5. As expected, the investment was worth it, upgrading his touch of death and unlocking abyss space. Testing the new storage function, the boy puts a bottle of water into a shadow that rises up from the floor. With a satisfied smile, he pulls the item back out, realizing how much easier the new skill makes everything. Checking the other functions, he sees he can't rank up because he's missing a key item. Super pumped about the new shop, the hero wants to explore the new possibilities that just opened up. Amazed, he's impressed by the variety of items and weapons available to buy. Knowing weapons are crucial, he decides to spend 1,500 souls to buy a lesser greatsword. Holding the new weapon, the protagonist gets excited about how the sword feels in his hands. Seeing his souls are running out fast, he decides to save the rest just in case. Suddenly, his boss shows up out of nowhere, which scares the kid for a second. So the hero explains that he awakened the abyss potential, and that now he can even summon his boss to fight. Impressed that he mastered the abyss so fast, the entity asks how he figured out how to level up. Seeing his servant's progress, the boss says that now that the kid can enter rifts, it's time to work. The next day, at the rank evaluation department, The kid waits his turn to be evaluated. Asked by his boss, the hero explains that he's waiting for his potential evaluation so he can get missions. When he's called in for the test, he stands up and follows the evaluator to the exam area. Confirming his identity, the woman explains that few people awaken their potential at rank D this early. Going over the process, the evaluator says the device measures the potential's rarity by color. Telling the kid not to get discouraged by a low rarity, she mentions that a second awakening can change everything, telling him to hand over his black card and place his hand on the device. As he touches the device, a multicolored energy starts to glow. Thinking the color fluctuation is weird, the woman realizes the identification isn't instant. Looking at a panel that shows nothing, she finds it strange. Suddenly, a massive energy bursts from the pillar, with dark eyes appearing at the top. Seeing it, the other evaluators panic, not understanding what's happening. Feeling the intense pressure, everyone can barely breathe, wondering what kind of potential that is. Completely shocked, the evaluator admits it's the first time she's seen detection waves that strong. The kid finds out his potential is Apostle, and the woman notes there's no record of the color purple. Revealing the name Apostle, the evaluator is surprised because it sounds like a job class. Explaining that the first awakening usually has incomplete names, the woman lays out how the system works. Out of nowhere, the section chief shows up and asks what the commotion from earlier was, cutting her off. Reporting the kid's test, the evaluator says his potential rank is purple and unheard of. Checking the detection panel, the chief confirms the data isn't wrong and the device is working. The man concludes that purple rank is a completely new level. Calling his superiors, the section chief confirms the device is working and reports the potential. Letting the chief know, the evaluator confirms the black card's recording is complete. Handing over the new card, the man explains that since purple rank is unprecedented, it was classified as unique rank. Seeing the new ID, the kid wonders if the purple color has something to do with the fragment of the authority of creation. Meanwhile, the other students talk about the new rank, thinking the name is awesome. Thinking the name Apostle is a bit too fancy, the hero decides it's time to do missions. At the mission hall, a guy walks up asking if he's lost and looking for a mission. Introducing himself as Zhang Hao, the man says his team is missing one person for a gathering mission. Looking at the offer on his phone, the kid finds out it's a mining job that pays less, but is safer. Figuring that 4 people would earn 2 credits and 50,000 each, the protagonist accepts right away. Excited, the guy explains that to join, you just need to download the school's official app. Meeting up with the rest of the team, the leader introduces himself and says they can finally start the mission. Asking about safety, the hero finds out the free supervision is only for the freshman test. Arriving at the crystal mine cave, the team is impressed by the size of the crystal vein. Suddenly his boss shows up out of nowhere and senses something strange in the air. The entity calls to him and the kid asks if he has another wish to make. Getting a new wish mission, the kid finds out he needs to collect 150 ores. Right after that, his boss explains that the stellar energy in the crystals is rich and that he can absorb it. Offering one of his extra tools, the team leader tells the hero to hurry up. Impressed by the newbie's strength, the guy asks if his potential is the strength type. Commenting that offensive types have it easier, his teammate says his vision is useless in fights. Cutting the protagonist off, the entity tells him to stop talking, complaining it can't absorb the crystals. Trying to stash one of the ores, a notification warns that he doesn't have ownership rights. Noticing the kid's distraction, the team leader warns him not to do anything stupid. Finally understanding the situation, the protagonist worries about how he's going to find that many crystals in just 1 hour. With zero empathy, his boss just says that's not his problem and tells the hero to figure it out. Right at that moment, the whole cave starts shaking and the group leader wonders if it's an earthquake. Pointing toward the back, one of the team members yells for everyone to look at that. Revealing a giant crystal-eating worm, the team panics. Shouting to forget the remaining ore, the leader tells everyone to fall back the way they came. Without giving them time to think, the monster starts chasing the team as they run like hell. The creature manages to close in on them really fast. The kid realizes the danger is right there. Without thinking twice, he shoves the group leader out of the way at the last second. Getting swallowed by the creature, his teammate screams the hero's name in panic, thinking he got caught. Already inside the monster's mouth, the kid reveals he let himself get caught on purpose. Figuring the thing nests near the ore, the hero gets excited because he can take it all. The kid jumps out of the monster's mouth and kicks the creature. Landing in a cave packed with crystals, his boss confirms his hunch was spot on, but the cave is full of other worms, and the protagonist feels relieved to have more souls to collect. Activating his combat skill, Touch of Death, the kid wants to test the limits of its power. Summoning several shadowy tentacles, he pierces all the worms at once, gaining 120 souls from each. Noticing the kid can control up to 6 tentacles at the same time, his boss praises his solid proficiency. Realizing Touch of Death is way more efficient, our hero notes the only downside is the usage limit. Since combat skills consume mental energy, a system warning alerts him that it's at a critical level. Even completely exhausted, the guy feels relieved he cleared out the smaller monsters and gets ready for the boss. Activating his divine speed, he slices the giant worm into pieces with a single attack, gaining 7,000 souls. Judging the servant's performance, the entity gives an approving score, but warns there's a long road ahead. With no time to waste before the rift closes, the hero uses his tentacles to mine the crystals from the monster. Since the mission requires 150 crystals in an hour, the kid orders his tentacles to mine fast. Counting the haul, the protagonist celebrates the total of 13,000 souls and concludes that soloing is the best thing in the world. Remembering that leveling agility and potential unlocked new skills, he decides to test other attributes. Spending 5,000 souls to reach D rank level 2, he also puts points into constitution, strength, and mental power. When he hits level 5 in strength, the system rewards him with the skill Powerful Strike, which boosts endurance. Reaching level 5 in mental power too, he gains the skill Calm Breathing, improving recovery. Activating Calm Breathing, the protagonist realizes the skill is insane, letting him attack with Touch of Death at no cost. Checking his stats again, he gets curious about what the Senses attribute does, since he's never used it. Thinking over the attributes, the kid understands what each one does, but the power of Senses is still a mystery. Determined to test it himself, he spends the rest of his souls to find out what that attribute does. Gaining the skill Eye of the Bearer of Authority, he understands the attribute is for information-type functions. Using the new skill to scan the larvae, he gets detailed info and notices a weird glow. Immediately, he orders one of his tentacles to dig into the ground, telling it to unearth the glowing object. Holding the mutant crystal found in the Lord's body, the hero feels a strange energy that confuses his boss. Finding out it's a special enhancement material, he realizes his demonic armor can be strengthened. Shocked, the entity asks how he got that, since the enhancement method was supposed to be lost. Seeing the rift is about to close, the boss tells him they'll talk about it after they get back. Watching the portal close, the people outside panic, not knowing how the battle turned out. When he asks why there wasn't a rescue, the team leader finds out the worm's nest is way too complicated to risk it. Devastated, the guy blames himself for dragging the hero into the mission, thinking he caused the rookie to disappear. Suddenly, one of the students yells for everyone to look, pointing at the portal that just closed. Walking out calmly, the boy steps out of the rift like nothing happened, leaving everyone speechless. Running up in relief, the leader asks how he escaped, and the hero makes up that he got lucky getting stuck in the beast's teeth. Lying through his teeth, he says he came out of the monster's mouth and vaguely remembered the way, regretting losing the crystals. To everyone's relief, his teammate says the important thing is that he's safe, and the system announces the mission is complete. As a reward, he receives the crystal-eating King's Crystal. Meanwhile, at Tianlin Hospital at night, the boy's sister comes by to visit. Walking into the room, the young woman is completely shocked to find the bed where her mother was is empty. She runs down the hallway in a panic and asks a nurse where the patient is, thinking something terrible happened. The nurse explains the patient was transferred to the ICU, which makes the girl worry about the cost. The woman says Director Hu from Lighter Academy paid the treatment in advance in the son's name. Back to the boy, he spends 3,000 souls and uses the mutant crystal to finally upgrade his demonic armor. With the evolution, the armor now boosts his strength when equipped and releases energy to cancel out attacks. Finding out the authority fragment also contained an upgrade method, the hero celebrates what a productive day it's been. Looking at the mission crystals in his storage, the young man realizes he'll figure out how to use them by keeping on doing tasks. Using the money to take care of his mom and pay off debts, the protagonist can finally breathe easy. He knows, though, that he needs to take higher-level missions to pay the rest of the debt and protect himself. Determined to solo more rifts, the boy checks the school recruitment forum while his boss eats fried chicken. Going through the listings, he realizes the posts are from veterans and that solo missions are impossible for newbies. Getting a brilliant idea, the hero decides that if there isn't a suitable team, he can just make one. Posting an ad, he looks for support-type assistants with no combat ability and with their own missions. Confident, the guy finishes the post, but his boss doubts anyone will believe such ridiculous conditions. Deciding to rest and look for a team the next day if nothing works out, the protagonist turns off his phone. Early the next morning, the room phone starts ringing non-stop, waking him up in an annoying way. Not understanding what's going on, the boy gets up wondering why the doorbell has been ringing for 10 minutes. He opens the door, still half asleep, and finds a girl calling him boss, leaving him confused. Staring at a crowd at his door, the young man has no idea what's going on. Explaining the situation, the girl says that since he didn't answer, she brought everyone who wanted to join. Explaining the silence, the hero says his phone was on silent and he didn't expect anyone to believe those conditions. The girl explains that low-level supports have a hard time finding a team, so everyone's eager. Whispering in the back, two guys doubt he can carry the team, thinking it's impossible to clear a rift alone. Standing up for the boy, the girl assures them she's teamed up with him before and they can trust him, calming everyone down. Still not buying the offer, another girl asks if it's true they don't have to do anything and still get half. Confirming with a tired look, the protagonist says yes, as long as they don't interfere with what he does. At that, the whole crowd erupts, with everyone shouting about their own mission and wanting to go first. With an awkward smile, the girl admits she didn't expect this many people and asks which task he'll do first. With a sinister grin, the boy reveals his real intention, saying he's going to take all of them. The scene shifts to the Hengsheng group building at night. Inside, a man gets punched in the face. Stepping on the fallen thug, the blonde attacker yells that he's the worst on the team and that he got chewed out because of him. Keeping the beating going, the boss gives brutal orders on how to collect debts, even telling them to kidnap people. Threatening his subordinate, the blonde boss warns that if the performance stays bad, he'll come after his debt and his family's too. Bloody on the floor, the man takes the beating in silence, knowing what happens if he fails the company. Leaving the building, the man meets his underlings, who call him boss respectfully. Seeing the cut on the boss's face, one of the guys asks what happened, but he just says it was a scratch. Suggesting they expand the business, the thug says that with debt collection alone, they can't keep up with the other teams. Slapping the guy across the face, the boss refuses to do the same disgusting stuff, afraid his kids will suffer. Deciding to look for money somewhere else, the man remembers that hidden rank guy, Joe Chen. The debt boss remembers the kid's name and decides to investigate. Looking at the hero's file, he finds out the brat paid $2 million in one go and got into Dawn Academy. The villain realizes he didn't expect the kid to be such a big fish and decides to go after him. Meanwhile, in a rift, the kid and his team face a rank D cave tree demon. Beating the creature with his shadow tentacles, the hero gets 12,000 souls and completes the hunting mission. Right after that, he takes out several swamp fishmen, getting another 10,100 souls. Blowing up a stone giant, the kid gets another 5,000 souls and completes another 3-star mission. Standing among the monsters' bodies, the protagonist thanks his teammates, because thanks to them he got a lot of souls. Focusing on potential, the kid spends his souls to level up strength and spirit. With the investment, his touch of death goes up to level 3, increasing his tentacles and the abyss space. He also gains Source of Fear, a skill that creates an abyss inside terrified targets to torment them. All of a sudden, his teammates scream in desperation as they get surrounded by crystal shell scorpions. Several rank D monsters appear out of nowhere, completely surrounding the group, and they have no idea where they came from. At that moment, the kid calls the creatures out. He asks who gave them permission to lay a hand on his teammates. Feeling that insane pressure, the monster panics, frozen in fear in front of the young man. Realizing his eye of authority can sense subtle states, the protagonist understands the enemy is feeling fear. Deciding to test the new combat skill, he activates Source of Fear. With that, several shadow tentacles burst out of the abyss inside the monsters, blowing them up from the inside out. Completely shocked by the scene, his partners can barely believe it, thinking the new skill is incredible. The kid thinks that as long as the enemy feels fear, he can control it and use the abyss to blow them up. Even with the win, he finds it strange he got so few souls, even though the enemies were strong. Only getting 2,100 souls in total, he realizes something is really wrong with the count. Saying the missions are over, the kid's partner says now they can turn everything in. Thanking them for the hard work, the protagonist tells the crew to rest and says he'll contact them later. Thinking about the low number of souls, he figures it's the system punishing him to stop easy leveling in low rifts. Since the Academy restricts rank C missions, he worries about how he's going to level up, thinking about asking his senior for help. Suddenly, a message hits his phone, catching the kid off guard in the middle of his thoughts. Getting an offer of 100,000 to follow someone for a day, the hero refuses, thinking it's bodyguard work. Pushing the offer, the person explains they want company while shopping and raises the amount, but the kid refuses. The person admits there's a wild rift at the location and that they need protection. Surprised by the info, the hero gets interested in the offer for the first time. Then the next day, the scene cuts to an outdoor training spot. Asked by his boss why they're there, the kid explains he set up a meeting with someone. Seeing a man walking up, the hero asks if he's the one who sent the message about the job. But the debt boss appears out of nowhere and grabs the man, saying he's the person the kid is looking for. The guy takes off running, apologizing for the trap. Not understanding anything, the kid just stands there, wondering what's going on and if he got played. The villain says that if the young man tells him how he got the money, he guarantees he'll let him leave safely. Ignoring the villain, the hero just complains there isn't a wild rift there, wondering where he can find one. Stopping the kid from leaving, the debt boss asks if he gave him permission to go. The man gets pissed that the protagonist is really looking down on him like that. Using his combat skill pressure, the villain brags about his power, introducing himself as Lin Yu. Recognizing the name, the kid realizes he hasn't heard about that guy in a long time. Finally, he understands that's the loan shark who gave the loan with insane interest. Asking why they're still after him, the kid gets a cynical answer. The villain says it's exactly because he has money that they're looking for him, leaving the hero furious. Annoyed by the nerve, the loan shark compares him to another brat, saying he's getting cocky just because he got into the academy. The loan shark says he needs to smack him around a bit so he learns how to behave. To the thug's surprise, the kid just throws a punch first. Totally shocked, the guy wonders what happened, and when the hell the kid attacked him. Not believing what just happened, the villain refuses to accept that he couldn't keep up with a rank D's movements. Thinking it was just a coincidence, the man activates his combat skill, the high-pressure fist. Before he can attack, the kid nails him with a punch to the face. Keeping the beating going, he punches the loan shark in the stomach. Finishing with a blow that slams him to the ground, the protagonist knocks the guy out. Lying on the ground all beat up, the loan shark realizes he has no power to fight that kid. Begging to stop getting hit, the villain surrenders. The entity comments that that's the debt guy and suggests killing him or torturing him a bit first. Refusing the suggestion, the hero says he still has things to ask and doesn't need to kill him yet. Panicking when he hears the word kill, the loan shark begs for his life, saying it was a misunderstanding. Without wasting time, the kid uses his fear skill. The villain is completely terrified by the scene. Activating the source of fear, the kid says they're gonna have a little chat and he'll know if he lies. Desperate, the loan shark begs not to be killed, promising to tell him anything he wants to know. Asking why he's being targeted, the hero hears a pathetic answer. Realizing the target has developed a lucky mindset, the system warns the kid, and he sighs. In a panic, the loan shark confesses he was desperate and wanted to know how the kid got 2 million. Confronting the loan shark about the guys who broke into his house, the villain swears he got rid of those idiots. Seeing the eye of authority doesn't react, the kid realizes the guy isn't lying about that. Asking about the 100 million debt, the hero finds out the one responsible is some Hengsheng group. Explaining the group's style, the loan shark reveals he also owes money, and that's why he came looking for the kid. Putting it all together, the protagonist understands his senior was right about the big company behind everything. Accusing the guy of doing a lot of bad stuff, the kid pressures him, but the villain swears he's different. Admitting the most immoral thing he ever did was capture a beast to sell on the black market, the hero remembers the ring. Asking straight up about the wild rift, the kid finds out the loan shark has one on hand. Telling the guy to take him to the rift, the two arrive at a warehouse in East 7 District. Confirming it's a rank C rift, the hero hears the loan shark explain he has connections in the black market. Asking about the tool to open the portal, the kid sees the yellow crystal the guy bought. Confident, the hero simply tells him to open the rift so they can go in and take a look. Stepping through the portal, the two appear in a lush green place, a scene totally different from what they expected. All of a sudden, a new wish mission pops up, tasking him with subduing every enemy in that rift. Seeing the new mission, the kid celebrates, realizing finding a high-level rift was the right call. Trying to convince the kid to give up, the loan shark says it's dangerous, but Zhou Chen says he's going to conquer the rift. Completely panicked, the man explains they'd need at least 5 rank C oracles. Revealing his past, the guy says he used to be part of a conquest team, and that's common sense. Thinking the joke isn't funny, the loan shark tries to leave, but stops when he realizes something's wrong. Showing the crystal that opens the portal, the hero calls out to him, asking if he was looking for that. Correcting the loan shark, the kid says he's going to conquer the rift alone, and the other guy doesn't have permission to interfere. Moving forward, the protagonist pushes on, leaving the loan shark with no choice but to follow. They arrive at a place full of demon monkeys. Terrified by how many there are, the loan shark explains they're cruel and live in groups. Surrounded by the monsters, the man screams in desperation that they're going to be eaten alive. But the kid thinks having a whole pack right there is actually pure luck. Activating the skill, he leaves the loan shark completely confused and terrified. With his shadowy tentacles, he pierces several demon monkeys all at once. Completely stunned by the scene, the loan shark can't believe what he's seeing. Meanwhile, more monsters keep charging in without fear. The horde of demon monkeys surrounds the kid. Watching the massacre, the loan shark is in shock, unable to believe rank C beasts are getting killed instantly. As the hero keeps fighting, the loan shark finally understands. This is how he makes money. Pushing through the forest, the boy keeps moving forward, leaving a trail of destruction behind him. With his tentacles, he finishes off another group of monkeys, earning 550 souls for each one. Keeping the massacre going, the protagonist racks up souls by clearing the area. Meanwhile, the loan shark wonders if that's really the kind of strength a rank D is supposed to have. The man admits that, honestly, he feels bad for that bunch of monkeys getting slaughtered. Watching his soul counter climb, the boy smiles, impressed by how many points he's getting. Suddenly, something comes rushing in fast, which makes the hero activate his perception. Out of nowhere, a giant white demon monkey tries to attack the kid. Using his level 3 touch of death, the protagonist summons his tentacles to defend himself, trying to pierce the creature. To the boy's surprise, the tentacles can't break through the beast's skin. With a massive impact, the monster throws the boy and the loan shark far away. Telling the guy to hide, the hero gets him out of the way while the loan shark obeys without thinking. Staring down the giant creature, the boy realizes he's finally found the boss of that rift. Using the Eye of Authority, he identifies the monster as the Demon Monkey Boss, a rank C variant. Activating the skill, the beast goes berserk, dulling its sensitivity to pain and losing its fear. Mocking the monster, the boy asks if it got mad because he killed its underlings. Summoning his sword, the protagonist says it'll be joining its buddies soon enough. Charging in with everything, the demon boss tries to nail the boy with a punch. The impact only cracks the ground, while the hero dodges with insane agility. Leaping over the monster, the boy gets ready to counterattack. Activating his divine speed, he moves so fast the monster can't even keep up. With a flurry of high-speed slashes, the hero hits the beast several times, leaving it dazed. Watching from far away, the loan shark can barely believe that technique, wondering if it's really rank D. Completely stunned, the guy wonders who the hell that kid is, fighting the boss head-on. The hero keeps fighting, focused on taking down the rift boss. Unleashing a rain of strikes with his sword, the boy hits the demon boss from every side. Feeling the pain from the attacks, the monster's berserk state fades and the system confirms fear. Taking advantage of the beast's fear, the hero activates his skill Source of Fear. Wrapping the monster in a terrifying illusion, the creature panics. The demon boss is completely frozen, unable to react. Not giving the enemy a chance, the boy summons his tentacles and pierces the beast's chest. Landing on the ground, the protagonist says that, as expected from a rank C boss, its skin was thick. Completing the wish mission, the system rewards him with the demon monkey boss's pure crystal. Holding the new crystal, he wonders what the 3 he has are for, and the system notifies him about upgrading. Deciding to use the 3 rare crystals, the boy spends 3,000 souls to upgrade them into an accessory. Getting a new rare item, the Lucky Hunter. He finds out he now has a higher chance of getting materials. Completely shocked, the loan shark walks up calling him Big Bro and asking for orders. Asking if the beasts are worth anything, the hero learns that rank C materials are rare on the black market. Telling the guy to handle the harvesting, the loan shark says he can deal with it and that the boy can leave it all to him. Checking his final status, the protagonist sees he's now level 9, with plenty of missions left. Checking his stored gear, the boy sees his greatsword and the Lucky Hunter. 2 hours later, in a warehouse at the docks, the debt boss Lin Yu arrives for a meeting. Welcomed by Boss Wang, the two greet each other like old business partners. Shaking hands, Boss Wang says it's rare for the other guy to come so late and says he's been looking forward to it. Seeing someone behind the loan shark, Boss Wang gets confused, not understanding his partner's attitude. While the boy stares at the two of them, Boss Wang asks if old Lin is getting into new business. Praising the hero like top-shelf merchandise, the man offers his services, saying he knows buyers. Before he can keep going, the loan shark grabs the guy's hand with brutal force, making him stop right away. Staring at his partner with a deadly look, Lin Yu warns that they're there to discuss only rift business. Completely terrified, Boss Wang wonders what's gotten into Lin Yu and who that boy is. Apologizing, the man says he was just kidding and invites the two to talk. Now in the meeting room, Boss Wang asks what Lin Yu is selling, and he opens a box. Curious about what's inside, the loan shark opens the box for Boss Wang. Shocked, the man can barely believe what he's seeing. Seeing the box full of monkey demon materials, the guy asks where old Lin got that stuff. Offering 1.5 million, Boss Wang tries to lowball him, saying rank C materials are hard to come by. Stunned by the price, the kid finally gets why the Academy controls materials so tightly. Haggling over the price, the loan shark says rank C materials are worth way more and threatens to find another buyer. Giving into the pressure, Boss Wang raises the offer, and the loan shark still asks for more, settling at 2.5 million. warning that if people find out he has rank C materials, the big clients will stop coming. The loan shark talks him into it. Sealing the deal, the two finally wrap up the business, with boss Wang promising to keep the loan shark in mind. Walking along the docks, the kid and the loan shark leave the warehouse after a successful negotiation. Seeing the instant transfer on his phone, the protagonist smiles, feeling like luck is on his side. Before he could leave, the loan shark calls out to him, asking if he needs anything else. All of a sudden, two men in suits show up, saying they finally found the boss, leaving the kid confused. Explaining what happened, the guys say that since the boss disappeared, they got worried and tracked him down. Seeing the loan shark next to the hero, one of the goons is surprised, not understanding what's going on. Thinking the kid got caught, the man says the boss must have taught the brat a lesson. The goon asks if the kid handed over the money as he walks up to the hero. Before he could finish the sentence, the loan shark slaps his own subordinate across the face. Yelling at his goon, the loan shark hits him with another slap, telling him to shut up. Apologizing to the kid, the man calls him Big Bro and says he was careless with his subordinates. Offering $1 million to the loan shark, the hero says he'll split the money with him as payment. Thinking to himself, the kid doesn't get why he gave so much money, since the guy didn't do anything. Saying goodbye, the protagonist turns down the ride, saying it wouldn't look good for them to be seen together, and leaves. Asking why the kid let the loan shark go, his boss says he would have kept him as a slave. Watching the kid walk away, the goon asks what's going on, and the boss says it's a long story. Giving new orders, the loan shark tells the guys to look for any news about Wild Rifts with everything they've got. He sees it as the only chance to finally buy their freedom. A few days later, on the shopping street at Dawnbreaker Academy, the kid is impressed by how many people there are and decides to take a look around, since he's got money. Walking into Nakuru General Store, he's welcomed in. Seeing the skill stones on display, the protagonist thinks everything's way too expensive. Realizing his 1 million won't last long, the kid decides he doesn't need offensive skills. Choosing 2 stones at 100,000 each, he picks Terrain Detection and Harvest Mastery. Seeing the special armor for rifts, the kid remembers he needs to change clothes. Since his clothes aren't suited for fighting, he decides to find better armor. Knowing he's the agility type, he gets that heavy armor won't work. Finally finding what he was looking for, the protagonist gets excited, thinking that armor isn't half bad. Suddenly, a weird-looking figure appears behind him, praising his good taste. Introducing the armor as his masterpiece, the man says it's light and durable. Saying the outfit would look better if he fixed up his image, the hero realizes his hair is long. Revealing he's the best stylist on the street, the man offers to cut the kid's hair. With the total coming to 910,000, the stylist thanks him, and the hero leaves with a new look. Checking out his new look, he says the outfit is comfortable, feeling way more confident. Catching the attention of a group of girls, they wonder who that handsome guy is. Seeing people's reaction, his boss says he doesn't understand how humans think. Handing a frilly outfit to his boss, the hero says he picked out clothes for him, but the entity refuses. Insisting he try it on, the kid says giving it a shot won't kill him. Just then, someone shows up and gets the hero's attention. It's his senior, Lin N, who looks surprised to see him. Commenting on the coincidence, the hero says it's been a while since he's seen her, and the girl says she barely recognized him. Seeing the two of them together, a group of girls says they look like the perfect couple. Pulling the boy by the hand, she says, there are way too many people there and they need to find somewhere quiet. Once they're in a cafe, the senior says a lot happened while she was away. Impressed by how much the boy has improved, the young woman says she's really good at spotting talent. Feeling embarrassed for not knowing anything about how much he's grown, the senior apologizes. Explaining her absence, the young woman says the guild has been having a lot of problems, which makes the boy curious. The senior talks about an extremely important battle for all the major guilds. She reveals that the Golden Radiance Rift is about to appear. Confused by the name, the boy asks about this rift, not understanding what it is. She explains it's a unique rift that only opens once every 2 years. Going into what's inside, the senior says it's full of ancient ruins and powerful monsters. Offering insane rewards, the young woman says a rank D oracle can gain immense power. That's why all the major guilds fight tooth and nail for a chance to get in. As one of Shenhua's heirs, she also has to fight for the guild. Seeing it as the perfect chance to farm souls, the boy asks if he can join. Explaining that the event is a guild war, the young woman says his level doesn't meet the requirements. Warning that the Golden Rift is a high-level zone, the senior says it would be way too dangerous for him. Still pushing the idea, the boy asks if there really isn't any other way in. Revealing a loophole, the young woman says the logistics team doesn't take part in the fighting. Confirming the decision, the senior says the rift should appear in 2 weeks, and that she's already sent him gifts. Thinking about the 2-week deadline to get ready, the boy realizes his only focus has to be leveling up. When he gets to his room, he finds a purple box, wondering if it's the senior's gift. Opening the package, the hero finds several high-quality stellar energy supplements. Shocked by how valuable the items are, his boss reminds him he can't use them to level up. Knowing he can't return them without explaining his method, the young man refuses to sell them on principle. All of a sudden, a brilliant idea pops into his head. 2 days later, on a rank D subjugation mission, the protagonist enters another rift. Right then, his phone starts ringing. Answering in the middle of the fight, he hears his old teammates freaking out over the gifts. Saying he doesn't need that many, the boy says it'd be a waste to just let them sit there. As he finishes off 2 cave spiders, his friends cheer, saying they'd walk through fire for him. Talking about their brutal training, they sound confident, but then they notice the noise on his end. Facing a giant cave spider, the hero says goodbye, telling them he'll see them later. Using his tentacles, he takes down the rift boss, gaining 900 souls. Shocked that he killed the boss while on the phone, his partners think he's way too savage. Counting his souls, the protagonist realizes the level restriction is holding him back. Determined, he decides he needs to try a new approach to get strong in time. Somewhere else, spending 50,000 souls, the boy buys a rift fragment to open a portal. Explaining it to his boss, he says the item showed up in the shop when he ranked up. Looking for a quiet place just in case, the young man gets ready to use the new item. Holding the fragment, he thinks for that price, the result can't be bad. Ready to bet everything on it, the hero activates the rift fragment connecting to a place called Grilov's Treasure Hall. Seeing that look for the first time, the boy and his boss feel a strange aura. Without hesitating, he touches the glowing wall to finally enter the place. Realizing he got in without a tree fragment, he concludes this isn't a normal rift. Going by the name, the protagonist expected a maze but decides to stay alert for enemies. Suddenly, his boss warns him that something is coming. Right after that, 2 goblins appear from among the trees, strolling along like it's nothing. Identifying the goblins, the hero wrongly assumes the monsters can't be that strong, but in the blink of an eye, one of the goblins rushes in at an absurd speed. With no time to react, the boy gets caught off guard by the sudden attack. As he dodges, the other goblin is already getting ready to hurl a rock with force. With a quick reflex, he dodges the projectile, which blows a tree to pieces. Seeing the insane strength, the protagonist is stunned by the damage to the tree. Unable to believe the strength and speed the goblins in this place have, all of a sudden, a new wish mission appears, banning the use of his abyss potential. Completely panicked, the boy can't believe it. The secret mission requires him to clear out the treasure hall and survive until the second day. To make things worse, his death touch and abyss space abilities were banned. Seeing the goblin coming at him, the hero realizes he'll have to fight without his main powers. Dodging the attack, he watches the monster smash the floor with the impact. Realizing how insanely strong these creatures are, the kid understands that one slip-up could be fatal. Looking for an opening, he faces the goblins, hoping to find a chance to strike back. Our video ends here. If you liked it, leave your like. See you next time. Bye-bye.